presents the 1985 World Series. Tonight from Royal Stadium in Kansas City, Game 2, the St. Louis Cardinals against the Kansas City Royals. Last night, the Royals took a 1-0 lead in the second, had runners at first and third with one out. Buddy Biancalana couldn't lay down a suicide squeeze bunt. Darryl Motley was tagged out in the rundown, and the Royals would not score for the rest of the night. The Cardinals, meanwhile, got single runs in the third and fourth, and then this great defensive play by Terry Pendleton, the catch and throw to nail Jim Sundberg. The Cardinals added one more, won Game 1, 3-1. Tonight, the Royals try to even things in Game 2. A panoramic shot of gorgeous Royal Stadium filled to capacity in Kansas City for Game 2 of the World Series. Again, the sun did not come out today. Very gray and overcast, but once again dry and no threat of rain. Welcome to Game 2, everyone. I'm Al Michaels. The St. Louis Cardinals trying to go up 2-0. Kansas City trying to even the series. And what about the Cardinals and how quickly the fates and fortunes in this game can change? They were down 2-0 to the Dodgers, then reeled off 4 consecutive wins to take the pennant and a victory last night. And the Cardinals come in tonight with a 5-game winning streak. Let me turn now to our pregame analyst, Reggie Jackson. And not only have the Cardinals won 5 straight, Reggie, they have done it without one of their big guns in Vince Coleman.
Well, what that's proved gone to show. Showed the Kansas City Royals that this team can play baseball. They've got it all. You're talking about their bench, Al. Without Vince Coleman, they've proved that they can play the entire game. They showed us good pitching last night. They showed us some timely hitting, and they showed us some outstanding defense. Let's get back to that bench, and you say they don't have a man named Vince Coleman with 110 stolen bases. Tito Landrum has filled in and hit a cool .438. You talk about the rest of the bench, and let's look what Cesar Cedeno and Andy Van Slyke did. Cesar Cedeno drove in the winning run, and Andy Van Slyke, for defensive measures, went in and made a real nice catch off the bat of George Brett. Kansas City's having problems right now scoring runs. That's no secret, Al. You take George Brett, Willie Wilson, and Lonnie Smith away from that lineup, and they have a combined batting average of the rest of the 5 players of .233.
How important is it for Kansas City to win tonight's game?
Well, they've got to get runs from that bench if they're going to do anything, Al. They've got to get some base hits from those players that are sitting on that bench, and what they have to do is get a real good pitching performance from a man named Charlie Leibrandt. They don't win the ball game tonight, it's 2-0, and no one has lost the first 2 games at home and then come back and won the World Series. It doesn't look good on paper for the Kansas City Royals, but one thing they have in their favor, you don't play any games on paper.
Well, we'll see if they can even it up. Just off my shoulder is Interstate 70. This, of course, is known as the I-70 World Series, the All-Missouri World Series. And on that subject, let's join Ray Gandolf.
They call this the Interstate 70 Series. But other than being the Missouri terminals of I-70 and being in the World Series, the cities and the teams don't have all that much in common.
Everything's up to date in Kansas City.
Kansas City has come a long way from a brawling frontier cowtown, still up to date in 1985. But steak and ribs remain the dietary staples, and its heroes have always been meat and potatoes guys like Jesse James, Harry Truman, and George Brett.
Meet me in St. Louis, meet me at the fair.
In St. Louis, you're still more likely to hear a waltz than a square dance. Its magnificent arch announces itself as the gateway to the West, but it also faces the sophisticated East. Here you can enjoy catfish and high tea and still be thought a regular fellow. The Cardinals mirror their city's double image. Ozzie Smith brings ballet to the ball field. Vince Coleman runs like a polo pony. And Jack Clark can beat your brains out with one swing of the bat. The Royals have been called George Brett and the 24 Dwarfs, but his teammates have proved that they can get off the floor and win. Ask the Blue Jays. The Cardinals were 2-1 favorites going into the series, and they won the first game. But here in Kansas City, they remember 1948, when Tom Dewey led Harry Truman for 8 innings.
Well, game 2 is approaching in Kansas City as the Royals try to square this one at a game apiece. The Cardinals try to go up 2-0. Our pregame show continues in a moment.
This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by the people at Merrill Lynch, whose resources and solutions make them a breed apart. And by Michelin. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Honey, you have Michelin tires in your car, don't you?
Yeah.
How come?
Oh, I don't know. They're terrific tires. Why?
How come I don't have Michelins in my car?
Oh, sweetheart, they cost more. I drive to work. I go out of town a lot. All you use your car for is shopping, driving Amy around. I'll get you a set tomorrow.
You sure you want to spend the extra money on us?
Come on.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Predicting the future is never a sure thing, but some people have a way of hitting the mark. Consider Merrill Lynch. In '79, it was said stocks were dead. We said they weren't. Later, hardly anyone saw the dawn of a new bull market in bonds. We did. Last year, others said high inflation would be back. We said it wouldn't, and recommended investing in financial assets. We called it the way we saw it and ended up being right because of one key reason: our resources. They're unsurpassed by anyone.
Bob.
Hi, Tom.
I just saw your client out there.
Okay, thanks.
By the way, do you think he'll be surprised by your recommendation?
Well, he's a smart man, and he knows our track record.
To find out what Merrill Lynch is saying right now, call 1-900-210-1000. More resources, better solutions. Merrill Lynch people, a breed apart.
An ABC News brief brought to you by Campbell's Chunky Soup. Now from Washington, Tom Gerald.
Good evening. The body of slain Achille Lauro passenger Leon Klinghoffer today arrived back in the United States. Meanwhile, Egyptian President Mubarak received a show of support and rallies today as he prepared for a meeting tomorrow with an American envoy sent to patch up relations between Washington and Cairo. In Beirut, an anonymous caller told a Christian radio station today that the second of 4 Soviet hostages has been killed. Anthony Mandia, the first recipient of a new type of artificial heart, has rebounded today from a period of slowed speech. Doctors say the problem was apparently not the result of a stroke. Now this.
I eat Chunky, the soup that eats like a meal. Because Chunky is packed with so many good things, it's got a taste you'll flip over. I can't believe I said that.
Chunky, the soup that eats like a meal.
That's News Brief. More later on the Weekend Report.
Outside the stadium, there are some Redbirds backers who have made their way across the state down I-70, ready to enter Royal Stadium. Their team goes home for Game 3 Tuesday at Bush Memorial Stadium. And right now, let's join the public address announcer, Jack Layton.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's color guard is being presented by the Headquarters and Headquarters Company Combined Arms Center, Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. The Kansas City Royals invite you to stand and join with Melba Moore, star of Broadway, television, and Capitol Records, as she honors America with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say
And as the crowd salutes singer Melba Moore, we'll return to ABC's exclusive presentation of the 1985 World Series after this message and a word from our local stations.
You got another set of Michelins, huh?
Yeah.
You really think they're worth more than other tires?
All I know is I got 60,000 miles on my last set of XA4 tires.
60,000? I thought I was doing fine when I got 32,000 miles on my tires. I guess Michelins are worth it.
Yeah. But I got a couple of other reasons I think they're worth it.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
A battle over whether to save jobs or save a river. Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
Something going on here.
Getting ready to watch Fred.
Bought Fred an ad in the Pacific Bell Yellow Pages. Bought Fred a red ad in the Pacific Bell Yellow Pages.
Pops right off the page, don't it?
Hey, Fred.
You got customers.
Remember what to do?
Fun parts, watch them try.
The ads that work as hard as Fred are red.
Thinking of selling your home? Well, now may be the perfect time. Interest rates are at their lowest in years, and the Century 21 team has thousands of ready buyers. In fact, the Century 21 team sells more homes than any other. Want to sell your home? Call a Century 21 professional today and ask about a home market evaluation.
Put number one to work for you. Century 21.
Call now and let a Century 21 professional help sell your home.
Like a word about Coast Savings' Best of Both Worlds sweepstakes, if I may. 25 free round trips for two on British Airways to London, the old world. The new world part? Oh, you lucky Yanks. Upfront bonus interest on CDs over $5,000, $50, $100 and more. A good show, what? So get cracking to Coast for free trips to London and tons of money.
Tommy Lasorda analyzes the game tonight after the movie.
Recognized around the world as the leader in sports television, ABC Sports celebrating its 25th anniversary. ABC Sports presents the 1985 World Series. Live from Royal Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, it's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Kansas City Royals in Game 2. ABC Sports exclusive presentation of the 1985 World Series is brought to you by Chevrolet. It's 1986 at your Chevy dealers now. Live today, Chevy. By Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. By the people at Merrill Lynch, whose resources and solutions make them a breed apart. And by the Coca-Cola Company and your local bottler of Coke and Coca-Cola Classic.
Welcome back to Game 2, everyone. Al Michaels in Kansas City, and an interesting contrast with these two franchises. We talked about the Cardinals last night winning 9 world championships, second only to the New York Yankees who won 22, and the names are legendary when you go back through the years. Frisch and Hornsby and Dean and Medwick and Musial and names like that. Meanwhile, the Kansas City Royals were only born in 1969. So not nearly the tradition the Cardinals have had, but tremendous success. In fact, they've been a blueprint for expansion success, as Kansas City has now won the Western Division title 6 times in the last 10 years, but still looking for their first world championship as they try to even the World Series tonight. Working with me again, of course, will be Jim Palmer, who played in 6 series, and Tim McCarver, who played in 3. And they're visiting with the 2 managers, Dick Hauser and Whitey Herzog. So first, let's join Jim Palmer.
As we talked about last night, we talked about the things that Kansas City had to do to win a world championship. Number 1, they had to have good pitching. Danny Jackson pitched a great game. Number 2, they had to play good defense. They executed very well last night. I think what the skeptics really felt about the Kansas City Ball Club, would they be able to score enough runs without the DH? With me today is manager Dick Hauser, the manager of the Kansas City Royals.
Dick, what are you going to do to try to get more offense? Are you going to change your lineup? Or are you going to try to bring more people off the bench?
Jim, that's probably the last thing that you suggested. That's probably what we'll have to do. We're hitting less than 200 as a shortstop team. And, of course, we're using the pitchers. Our pitchers haven't hit all year because of the DH. I can't make a lot of lineup changes. People have asked me about playing Hal McRae in the outfield. I wouldn't ask a player to do something he hasn't done in 5 or 6 years. So what we'll probably do is try to stay close and use guys like McRae off the bench to win it for us.
Will we see you going for the big inning, or maybe will you try to play for the one run?
Jim, we haven't had many big innings this year. We'll probably just have to go one at a time. If we get a chance early in the ball game, you can expect me to pinch hit, for example, for Buddy Biancalana if we've got a chance to get a couple of runs. But I don't expect us to have many big innings. We're going to have to plug away, try to get this thing done with our good pitching.
When Whitey Herzog was the manager of the Kansas City Royals, he won division championships in 1976, 77, and 78. Well, he was fired in 1979, and even though the Royals made it to the World Series in 1980, Whitey wasn't their manager. And Whitey, after winning a World Championship in 1982 with the Cardinals, do you savor this a little bit more, this World Series, because you're playing against the Royals?
Well, not really, Timmy. I came over here, and Kansas City had never won anything. I was here as a player in 58, 9, and 60. I had left Kansas City, got a chance to come back here and manage. The ball club was ready to blossom. We were able to win. We lost 3 tough playoffs to the Yankees. They had great teams at the time. We lost in the 9th inning of the 5th game twice. And in 79, we finished 3 games out, and I got fired. I was here 5+ years, and anytime a manager's someplace for that long, I guess you've done a pretty good job. I was fortunate enough to get to go with the Cardinals. They were having problems in 1980. I replaced Kenny Boyer, who's a good friend of yours and mine, and got to make the changes I wanted. Mr. Bush let me do everything that I wanted to do and put the club together. Won in 82, kind of tore it apart again, and got it back here in 85. But playing here right now is just a thrill to me. My home is 2.5 miles from the ballpark. My family's all here. A lot of my friends are here, and it's just a nice place to play baseball. A great stadium and a great city.
That's quite an understanding attitude. Did you have that same attitude after you were fired?
Oh, yeah, I knew it was going to happen, and the only thing that taught me was don't finish second.
Thank you very much, Whitey. Whitey Herzog, manager of the Cardinals.
Herzog certainly not finishing second this year. He's trying to finish on top of the baseball world. Festive atmosphere here at Royal Stadium in KC. Once again, here's Jack Layton.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to direct your attention to the home plate side of the Royals dugout for tonight's ceremonial first pitch. 3 months from this very day, on Monday, January 20th, our nation will celebrate the day of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. with a federal holiday, the first national legal observance of his birth. In honor of that event, the ceremonial first pitch will be thrown tonight by Mrs. Coretta Scott King, chairperson of the Martin Luther King Jr. Federal Holiday Commission. It is baseball and Mrs. King's hope that this first ball will serve as a reminder to all Americans to join in the observance of Dr. King's memory and the dreams for which he lived and died. Mrs. King, whenever you're ready, we await your first pitch. Thank you, Mrs. King.
So the pregame pageantry is over, and we are ready for the start of play. Game 2 of the 1985 World Series coming right up.
Hey, Nuxie, what keeps you going? I was 4 years old when you started.
It's been that long?
I remember collecting your baseball card. You are a classic.
The trick, my friend, is to think young.
Coke? You mean you don't drink Coca-Cola Classic?
Us kids like Coke.
It's light, smooth, it's the latest.
Kids? You still wear long johns.
Yeah, but they're the latest in long johns.
Coke and Coca-Cola Classic, America's real choice.
I got the same card as you, Coburn.
Huh? Oh, that's nice.
You don't have to be a big cheese to own a MasterCard.
I know.
The same card you bop around the south of France with, I used to buy wool.
Wool?
So you're not as hotsy-totsy as you think, Mr. Tinseltown.
May I buy you a drink?
Anytime, Jimbo.
When a road is slippery, braking your car can cause skidding or worse.
Now, Tevis, an ITT company, has an anti-lock brake system to help keep your car under control. A built-in computer senses the road and brakes the wheels without locking. This ITT Tevis system is available on some American cars now, and none too soon.
The following message is furnished by Major League Baseball.
1985 has been a record-breaking year for me and for the whole family of baseball. Like any family, we've had some problems, and we're working hard to solve them. But there have been some great performances, too. Take that gentleman in California and that kid in New York. And, of course, my forever young teammate in Chicago. So from all of us in the family of baseball to our family of friends, thanks for sharing a great season.
Major League Baseball, a family tradition. Share it all.
Let's have a look now at the Cardinal lineup tonight. Once again, they begin with the league batting champion, Willie McGee, who hit .353. Then comes the Wizard, Ozzie Smith, the shortstop. Batting third, the switch-hitting second baseman, Tom Hurd. The playoff hero, Jack Clark, at first base, bats cleanup. Then Tito Landrum again gets the start in left field, and Cesar Cedeno will be in right. Hitting seventh, the switch-hitting third baseman, Terry Pendleton. Darryl Porter is once more back of the plate, and the pitcher is Danny Cox. Taking a look at Kansas City defensively, and they did not commit an error last night. Steve Balboni is the first baseman, and then Frank White, who won a succession of gold gloves a few years back, is the second baseman. Shortstop again, Buddy Biancalana, a key figure in last night's game with the missed suicide squeeze, and the third baseman is George Brett, who charged in and made a nice play last night, and in the playoffs showed you what he can do with the glove. Lonnie Smith in left field. The center fielder is Willie Wilson with a lot of room to patrol here. It's 410 to straightaway center. And in right field, in the platoon situation, Pat Sheridan. Darryl Motley started last night's game. Sheridan got in the ninth inning as a pinch hitter and doubled. Back of the plate, Jim Sundberg, who won his share of gold gloves while a Texas Ranger. And the pitcher is Charlie Leibrandt. A good mark of 17-9, 2.69, and a very key figure, Jim Palmer, in Game 7 when, because of the injury to Brett Saberhagen, he had to come out of the bullpen and wound up as the winning pitcher.
That's true, Al. He started the second game and pitched poorly. He came back and pitched very well in the first game, then pitched very well in the fourth game, and then in the seventh game, when Saberhagen was hit with a hard shot off the bat, he came in and pitched 5 1/3 innings, gave up a couple of runs, but they held on to win 6-2 and did an excellent job. Kept him in the ball game all the way, and all the way to Quisenberry. Can't ask for really more than what he's done. Last year is 11-7. This year 17 wins, which we saw with the graphic. Not an overpowering type of pitcher. A couple of change-ups, 3 of them to be exact. They all do something different. A little bit of a breaking ball, doesn't throw it very often. But he's effective, and that's the bottom line.
Tim, it would seem to me he would be a very easy pitcher for a catcher. He has a nice fluid motion, pretty good control.
And plus, with the Cardinal Rabbits on base, he's got a good move. He had 7 pickoffs this year. And Jim Sundberg, of course, with a good throwing arm. And you need that combination against the Cardinals. A guy with a good move and a catcher with a good arm, because these guys can flat fly.
Well, we'll see about McGee. They figured out a way to get him off the bases last night when he doubled, and they threw him out on a perfect relay. And they figure out another way on a 2-hopper to Biancalana. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the first inning. So the league batting champion is gone, and he is 1 for 5 now in the series. Billy Williams is a National League umpire with Jim McKean at first, American. Bob Engel, National. John Shulock, American. Jim Quick, National, down the left field line. And Don Denkinger, who worked home plate last night and would work home plate again if there is a 7th game, is on the right field line. Ozzie Smith, 0 for 3 in Game 1, takes a strike. The MVP in the National League Championship Series with the game-winning home run in Game 5 and the big triple in Game 6. 1-1 to count. Ozzie Smith, the Wizard of Oz, and that's not a name he picked up in St. Louis, because before that he was at San Diego. And the Cardinals naturally knew all about him, sought him. He had some contract problems down there. And if they thought he had contract problems or problems signing him then, how about now with a $2 million figure annually? Brett in foul territory handles this one, and Smith is out number 2. Tommy Herr coming up.
It's funny how few people, both nationally and around the St. Louis area, however, Al, have not spoken about that $2 million since Ozzie Smith won Game 5 of the National League Championship Series.
You'll recall, Tim, too, there was a lot of public flack of sorts, too, when the Red Sox had to give Wade Boggs $1 million in arbitration this year. And everybody said that's ridiculous. And then all Boggs did is go out and get 240 hits and win the batting championship. Tommy Herr takes inside. Talk about bargains. maybe Boggs is the $2 million man.
There's another bargain right there, Charlie Leibrandt.
He came over from Cincinnati in a deal and did not have immediate success because he was up and down for a couple of years, up and down between here and Omaha, the AAA affiliate, 2-0. Charlie Leibrandt, born in Chicago, lives in Leawood, Kansas, and this is his 3rd full year in the big leagues. Strike, 2-1.
Well, what you have to like about Charlie Leibrandt is the way he gets you into a ball game. When you go out on the mound, what you try to do is keep your club in the game. Last year, went into the 7th inning 19 out of 23 times. This year, 28 out of 33. So he's pitching well, doing the thing that you want him to do. Give you a chance to win.
Next loop down the line and curling foul, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes on the switch-hitting Tommy Herr with Jack Clark on deck. Off day in the World Series tomorrow, and then 3 night games in St. Louis, all beginning at 8 Eastern time, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if necessary, Thursday. Friday would be a day off, and if 6 and 7 are necessary, back here next Saturday night and Sunday night. 2-2 to Herr. Is grounded to Brett, who charges, throws, and gets it. And as was the case last night, the St. Louis Cardinals go down quickly and in order in the top of the 1st inning. After a half in Game 2, Cards nothing, and the Royals coming up.
Out on the town, flying around, pizzas disappear. Now you're talking Friday night, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Stroh Light, smooth, refreshing, less filling.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Can any new size van give you the room and power you're looking for? Meet Chevy Astro. It's the van that can. Comfort you'll cheer. Lots of space in the rear. There's family room. Fuel-injected V6 that zooms. Choice seating for 8. It's a nursery mate. The only new size van that gives you this much room and power is Chevy Astro. It's the van that can. Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Astro.
Now we'll look at the Royals lineup tonight, which starts with Lonnie Smith leading things off, and the other speed merchant, Willie Wilson, batting second. George Brett, in a class by himself, bats third. Once more, Frank White hits fourth. He hit 22 homers this season. The platooning Pat Sheridan gets the start tonight against the right-hander Cox. Jim Sundberg hits in the number 6 position. Steve Balboni, 36 home runs, bats 7th. Buddy Biancalana is the shortstop, and the KC pitcher Charlie Leibrandt. And the Cardinal defense, a big reason for their success. Again, Landrum in left, McGee in center, and Cedeno in right, with Pendleton at third, Smith at short, Herr at second, and Clark at first. Porter catching and Cox pitching. And I'm reminded as you look at Danny Cox, with Landrum in left field again, that means Vince Coleman is out. And in talking with Gene Gieselman, the Cardinal trainer, and he's an excellent one. They've been working on Coleman. He has just not responded as well as they had hoped, and in fact tomorrow they're going to run a bone scan on him, and it's beginning to look highly doubtful as to Vince's availability for the rest of this World Series.
It's a situation where they say he looks absolutely normal when he walks, but the minute he tries to putting stress on the leg and by running, which is what he does best with those 110 stolen bases, he's unable to do so. Well, Danny Cox is pitching 18-9. You saw in the graphic, 6'4", 230 pounds. Tim, you'd kind of think that he'd throw the ball right through the back spot.
Lonnie Smith to lead things off. Smith, Wilson, and Brett. There is Coleman in uniform and somewhat available. I suppose he could pinch hit, but then Herzog would have to take a chance on him re-injuring that leg. 1-0 pitch is taken low, ball 2. Vince Coleman doesn't do you a whole lot of good if you have to pinch run for him.
Oh, you don't have to pinch run for Lonnie Smith. Imperative that he and Wilson get on base.
And he does with a solid single into left field. So Lonnie Smith gets on. He did that last night, and he was off in a hurry because they picked him off. And remember, during the regular season, he was picked off 12 times. So Smith, who had 40 steals as a Royal and who had 12 as a Cardinal before he was traded here in May, is at first base, and Wilson is the batter. That 278 figure, interestingly, is the second highest batting average among the Royals this season in terms of their starters, trailing, of course, George Brett. Pitch up high, but it does point out the problems they have with the rest of their order. Cox, a slow starter, to say the least.
As a matter of fact, the last game that Danny Cox lost was back on September 10th. In that game, he gave up 5 runs to the Mets, a grand slam home run to Howard Johnson of the Mets.
Wilson, switch hitter. And Pendleton has to play shallow at third. Not only the speed at first do you have to worry about, but also, as you can see, Terry and where he is, but a very quick man at the plate.
Well, Wilson doesn't like to bunt, but as a third baseman, you have to respect his ability to do that. Whereas right now, you'd like to set up that first and third situation. Hit the ball into right field.
And he spreads it, backhanded by her. He goes to Smith to first for a double play. And you do not see too many double plays grounded into by Willie Wilson. Certainly very few with a transfer.
Watch this play by Tommy Herr. Wilson is jammed, a little short hop. And watch the smooth transition Ozzie Smith makes with his feet. They have Wilson by a stride and a half at first base.
So 2 down in the first inning, and Brett is the batter.
Of course, on the artificial surface, it's easier to double up a hitter like Willie Wilson because the ball gets to the infielders much quicker.
Brett takes a strike. Dick Hauser, a man who knows his team is having trouble scoring runs. They did all season long. Second lowest batting average in the American League. Wilson, by the way, grounded into 6 DPs during the regular year, and the count on Brett is 0-2.
Kind of a contradiction the way when I talked to Dick, he said he was going to maybe play for 1 run, but again, I think his thinking with Wilson is if you bunt with Wilson, you take the bat out of Brett's hand. They may walk him, and you don't have Hal McRae hitting 4th, you have Frank White. Maybe the reason for this strategy.
I think also what he probably meant, he'll play for 1 run if it's the bottom of the order as well. If he's going to have any semblance of a relatively big inning, those first 3 guys just have to do it.
That's right. Oh, plus he may know that Cox has trouble in the first inning.
And Brett grounds it down to Clark at first base, and so Brett begins the World Series by going 1 for 5. No runs ahead and nobody left on. 1 scoreless inning in the books in Kansas City.
The essence of bobsledding. The new sled feels like gliding on silk. The essence of shaving. This is new Atra Plus, an incredible advance in Gillette shaving smoothness. The Plus is the unique lubricating strip that glides the razor effortlessly. You never felt anything smoother. New Atra Plus by Gillette, the essence of shaving.
When Bill bought his new business, he was surprised. Owning a minor league baseball team was a lot like running his insurance company. So Bill called in Team Xerox. Unlike other companies, they thoroughly examined the kind of documents he needed, then recommended compatible equipment, software, and networks. Now, Bill keeps track of salaries and scouting reports with better documents than ever before. And with Team Xerox in the front office, all Bill has to worry about are his players.
When it's freezing cold and the sirens blow and the mercury's down to 20 below, you don't need problems, you gotta go. That's why America goes with Prestone.
A fresh fill of Prestone 2 antifreeze fights freeze up and rust up too. A radiator could look this bad after just 10,000 miles of driving on weak, neglected antifreeze, while the Prestone radiator looks this good. Get the Prestone difference.
America goes and goes and goes with Prestone.
MacGyver, your next mission is to...
Heck, the only mission I'm going on is to find a TV to watch the World Series.
What's your mission?
MacGyver, tomorrow after ABC's NFL football. Have a moment to look at the National Football League scores right across the parking lot at Arrowhead Stadium here. The Rams beat Kansas City. Cincinnati's defense gives up 44. Eagles beat the Cowboys. Bills a winner over Indianapolis. The Raiders squeak by Cleveland. Atlanta wins. The Giants defeat Washington. Pittsburgh over the Football Cards. The Vikings take care of San Diego. The Lions beat the 49ers, who are 3-4 now. And the Patriots upset the Jets. OT. Denver beats Seattle. Miami in a wild one defeats Tampa Bay. And tomorrow night you'll see the Bears taking on the Vikings on a Monday night presentation. Last night's winner, John Tudor. What did I say? Bears, Vikings? Well, if the Vikings think they're going to play a doubleheader, don't worry about it. I was wrong. Green Bay and Chicago. 0-1 the count on Clark. Bud Graham probably said, what? What did he say? Clark takes inside, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike with Landrum on deck, and then Cedeno.
It's a great angle to see Jack Clark's turn into the ball. I don't think anybody has a purer turn into the ball. You see the shoulder closed, hitting from a closed stance, and he triggers back. What hand action he has. I mean, he can buggy whip a baseball.
Trying to do it that time, and the count is 2-2. On deck, Tito Landrum, who has been Coleman's replacement, and what a great job he has done in the league championship series, and then last night 2 for 4 and a nice running catch. And you could see the shoulder twitch of Billy Williams. It was more than a twitch.
Pitch just below the knees. Borderline pitch, a little bit low, and Billy starts to call him out, but thinks a little bit better.
And you can't say Sundberg didn't give him a good shot. He stayed down on the pitch. So Billy had a good shot at it.
Clark reaching out to protect the plate and fouling it away, so the count stays 3 balls and 2 strikes on Jack. Jack Clark has always been highly sought. He's one of those fellas who came up very heralded, was the best player, as we said last night, on a poor club, a succession of poor teams, and was always the subject of trade rumors. Nary a year went by without somebody talking about Jack Clark. Down he goes on a changeup. So, one away, Tito Landrum is the batter, and I had a chance to visit with him earlier.
What do you think about when you begin to realize that you're going to have a 3rd World Series ring on your hand one of these days?
It's jubilation, believe me. I look at the Hall of Famers. Ernie Banks comes to mind real quickly. 22 years in the major leagues. Didn't have the opportunity to play in a World Series, I believe. The last 3 or 4 years, I've had the opportunity to be in 82, the 83, and now the 85 series. So I count my blessings and feel I'm very fortunate.
The well-spoken, articulate Landrum out of Joplin, Missouri, a strike. He played with the Cards in '82. We mentioned last night he was not eligible for postseason play, but he did get a ring. Then he got the ring in Baltimore in '83. And here's a man that definitely needs a safe deposit box.
Exactly.
1-2 the count.
Well, he said he was fortunate. Those who are unfortunate are the pitchers that have to face him, because he's been doing a heck of a job. Well, they pitched him away last night. The 2 times they came in, they were successful. Leibrandt ahead in the count. See where he goes.
Inside, 2-2.
Leibrandt's the type of pitcher also that can jam a right-handed hitter, especially with 2 strikes, because they're protecting away the off-speed pitch.
Well, he has that great changeup we talked about, and what makes him successful, as we said, he's not overpowering, but he'll throw the changeup anytime, so you just can't sit on one pitch. A lot of pitchers, 3 and 2, you look for a fastball, you know you're going to get it. Not with Charlie Leibrandt.
And it's over for called strike 3. Landrum looking back curiously at Williams' call and back to the dugout.
Well, again, most likely just looking for the ball, because he's shown him 2 pitches. Takes a pitch right at the knees.
Now Cesar Cedeno playing in his first World Series. 3 for 9 in his career against Leibrandt. 1 for 3 last night. Picked up in late August, just prior to the deadline to be eligible for postseason play. And did he do a job down the stretch? 0-1. You know, in the early 70s, when you thought about raw talent, there were really 2 unbelievably talented players in the National League in Cedeno and Bobby Bonds. Those were the 2 for whom superstardom were predicted. Each, I guess, has come up a little short of expectations, but then again, they had that burden of here they are, and watch them play. And Cedeno hits a ground ball to the left side, where Biancalana comes up with it and throws him out. And as was the case last night, the first 6 Cardinals go down, and there's no score in the middle of the second.
Predicting the future is never a sure thing, but some people have a way of hitting the mark. Consider Merrill Lynch. In '79, it was said stocks were dead. We said they weren't. Later, hardly anyone saw the dawn of a new bull market in bonds. We did. Last year, others said high inflation would be back. We said it wouldn't, and recommended investing in financial assets. We called it the way we saw it, and ended up being right because of one key reason: our resources. They're unsurpassed by anyone.
Bob.
Hi, Tom.
I just saw your client out there.
Okay, thanks.
By the way, do you think he'll be surprised by your recommendation?
Well, he's a smart man, and he knows our track record.
To find out what Merrill Lynch is saying right now, call 1-900-210-1000. More resources, better solutions. Merrill Lynch people, a breed apart.
Barbecues and cowboy shoes, guitars and high gear. Now you're talking country, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's are spoken here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's are spoken here.
Hi, I'm Walter Payton of the Chicago Bears. The World Series is great, but if you want to see a different type of excitement, watch us host the Green Bay Packers live on ABC's Monday Night Football.
This ABC Sports exclusive presentation of the 1985 World Series is being brought to you by new Atra Plus from Gillette, the essence of shaving.
Gorgeous shot from a camera that I would assume is mounted atop the scoreboard here in Kansas City. Look around this beautiful facility. It's actually in the lights back in center field. Our director, Chet Forty, actually climbed up there to place that camera in position last Thursday. Dennis Lewin held the ladder. No score in the bottom of the second inning. Frank White with 22 home runs this season, a career high. again in the cleanup spot tonight. And he bunts. Good bunt. Cox off balance throw, won't get it. I suppose if anything typifies this Kansas City lineup and attack, it's that your cleanup man bunts.
Well, when you're not scoring a lot of runs, but you're playing well, you could try to get something started. Nice effort by Cox, but Frank takes everybody by surprise.
I think one big reason that White beat that ball out was Cox's last step. When he threw the ball, he stepped toward first base. His momentum carried him over there, and then he had to regather that momentum to go back toward third, and the throw waved. White had to play beat easily.
So White, who had a bad World Series in 1980, is at first base with a count now 1 ball and no strikes. White in that Philadelphia series, and everybody remembers the horrible series Willie Wilson had, so you tend to forget about White, but he was 2 for 25, and so he's now 3 for 30 in his World Series career. Outside, 2-0 on Sheridan, who had 3 homers this season. 2 of them came in this park, and they both came in the same game off Phil Niekro, and then he had 2 in the playoffs.
Last night, came in off Todd Worrell, jumped on that high fastball and doubled in a pinch hitting role. So he's been swinging well.
2-1 the count.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised that Dick Hauser wouldn't send Frank White in a situation like this, an ideal hit and run situation. You can't play a passive offense if you don't have a lot of long ball punch. Pat Sheridan with 3 home runs, 2 in the playoffs, however, 3 for the season.
And White is going. The pitch is swung on and missed, and the throw is caught by Smith, who leaps over White. But Frank with a steal. And Porter's first attempt is an errant one.
You're in a situation right there where the catcher's not going to pitch out. He did not have a good pitch to handle. It was a slider, and Frank White's in there easily. The reason the 2-0 count is not as good a count to run on, you want to give your hitter 1 shot at popping the ball hard, an extra base hit or a long ball. But 2-1, the situation is reversed, and Frank White's at second.
And Ozzie Smith had to do an Edwin Moses to save an error. 2-2 pitch is called, strike 3 at the outside corner. So 1 out. Jim Sundberg comes up. So many years at Texas, so many last place finishes. I asked him if he ever thought he'd make it to the World Series.
Well, I thought about that. I knew that there were a lot of players, good players, that have never made it. And when I went to Milwaukee last year, I felt that I was going with a club that had a real good shot of making it, because they'd done it just a couple years earlier. And then the injuries set in, and we just didn't gel. When I was traded to Kansas City last winter, I felt, hey, here's a club that had won their division the year before, but you just never know. And as time went on and the second half came about, we began to gel and play ball, and it became a reality.
So Sundberg finally makes it to postseason and had a big hit the other night. And White is going to third. Sundberg on a check swing fouls it away. Tried to hold up with Frank going, and White, knowing he had a good jump and knowing he had third base, will have to go back.
He had a good jump then, because Danny Cox did not make him stop at second. Whenever you get that walking lead at second or first, you got all your momentum going toward the next base, and Frank White took advantage of that. Jim, you got to make a guy like Frank White stop, though.
Well, that's what you try to do. Again, a lot of pitchers have tunnel vision. They concentrate just on the hitter. And again, Frank White has not stolen a lot of bases lately.
Back Sundberg off in the count 1-2. Sundberg had only 35 RBIs during the regular year, but he's the Royals' RBI leader in postseason play with 6. 3 of them coming on that bases loaded triple in Toronto. And then he also hit a big home run here in that third game when the Royals came from behind to beat Toronto. 2-2. That was the night Brett had the Hall of Fame night, but lost in the shuffle was Sundberg's home run, which regained some momentum for KC.
He had the big bases loaded triple and also an RBI single in that game, driving in 4 runs. And that was a margin of victory, 6-2.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count. And down he goes. So Sheridan and Sundberg have both struck out. White is still a second, and now it's Balboni.
Well, Danny Cox, if you ask the scouts, they said, what's his best pitch? It's a slider, and there you saw one right on the outside corner. Again, 6'4", 230. You'd think an overpowering pitcher, but his best pitch is a breaking ball.
Now the Royals with this other problem, too. Here's their big RBI guy, the guy who can hit one out and make it 2-0, but he's also the guy who precedes Biancalana, and with first base open, you can't imagine he's going to get anything very good to look at.
Especially since Biancalana's batting left-handed from the right side. He started from the right side as a right-handed hitter last night. He bats .269 as a right-hander, but under 180 as a left-hander.
Oh, 0-1 the count. Look at the outfield. Deep, of course, in left. Shaded to left is McGee. And Cedeno just about straight away in right. Balboni in his postseason 29 at-bats, 4 singles. That's a strike. And the count is 0-2.
Dandy slider.
Yes, he does. That 2-2 slider to Sundberg and that 0-1 slider to Balboni. Not too many right-handers going to hit that pitch. Now he can toy with him for a couple of pitches. That slider low and away. Now they're going to, yep.
Off the plate, the count is 1-2.
You saw Porter, he'll trick you a lot of times. That's what he's trying to do. He gets up on the left ball of his foot, of his left foot, and moves inside, and then at the last minute he moves outside. You don't want to set up too early if you're a catcher, because you got a lot of peekers in the big leagues. They peek back there.
Cox peeking in for the sign. Porter moves to the outside, and down goes Balboni, who accomplished that little feat 166 times during the regular season. Cox strikes the side out, and after 2, 0-0.
Today's Chevrolet is a little import called Spectrum, a spectacular combination of fun and practicality. We call it
Spectrumality. Solid. Spectrumality.
Price.
Spectrumality.
Room.
Spectrumality.
Technology.
Spectrumality. Spirit. Spectrumality.
Economy and more, all part of the new Chevy Spectrum, a spectacular combination of fun and practicality called
Spectrumality. Live today, Chevy. Chevy.
Hey, Earl, I see we both made it to the series.
Yeah, and these seats are better than the dugout.
And now we can sit back, enjoy a Coke, and watch the game.
Yep, with the Coca-Cola Classic.
No, Earl, Coke.
But this has the classic taste.
This is light and smooth.
This is the original formula.
This is the latest.
Billy, why are you always fighting?
Fight? Who fights? I never fight. Want to sign my cast?
Yeah, I'll sign it.
Oh,
Got
Mr.
a pen?
Lasorda.
Coke and Coca-Cola Classic, America's real choice.
When you were growing up, you learned you were facing a world full of competition. There were so many of you with all the right credentials. To succeed today, you need a way to stand out from the crowd, to make the most of your special kind of music. Introducing Amiga, the computer that gives you undreamed of creative power to work faster and more productively. With built-in color graphics no other comes close to. Amiga, the first personal computer to give you a creative edge.
In Maine, a battle rages over a dam that could save jobs but destroy a river.
This is a real river. You don't mess around with that.
Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
Tomorrow on ABC, America's newest hero, MacGyver, will be seen on a special night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and after Monday Night Football on the West Coast. MacGyver tomorrow on ABC. And Stan Musial, the man who not only played with the Cards, but has been an executive, the statue outside Bush Memorial Stadium, Mr. St. Louis. Pendleton takes a strike. 0-1 on Terry, who at 240. He's a switch hitter. He hit 229 this way and 244 when you spun him around.
And that goes back to maybe why left-handers are more successful. Cardinals 8 up right-handed pitching, but with the exception of Ozzie Smith, all their switch hitters hit better from the other side, the left-hand side.
Hit in the air to right, and that's trouble, and in for a base hit. And so Pendleton is aboard, and that was the case last night when he became their first base runner by walking in the third and eventually scoring.
A little nubber to right, and this ball well in on the hands of Pendleton. Kind of jammed himself. He actually hit it a little above the trademark. It's when a hitter drags his hands through the strike zone, and thereby the bat head trails, and usually you get a hit like that. Almost by design, that one, wasn't it?
Double play.
So Porter is the batter. Darrow, who's been in the big league since '72, takes a strike, and the count is 0-1. Darrow Porter in 1982 as a Cardinal was not only the MVP in the league championship series against Atlanta, but in the World Series as well. Another strike, and the count is 0-2. He started his career with Milwaukee, then to Kansas City with Herzog, and then over to St. Louis, where Whitey got him back. Pendleton not straying very far. Pendleton was speed, 17 steals, but as we said last night, not an accomplished base stealer yet because he was caught 12 times.
Looks like Balboni cuts down on his kick with a runner at first base. You don't see that real high kick when he's working from the stretch. I meant Balboni. I mean Charlie Leibrandt, of course.
And down goes Porter. Kept it up, threw it hard, and strikeout number 3 for Leibrandt.
Batting ninth, number 34.
I guess Balboni is glad that he cuts down that stride, and Darrell Porter is sorry he cuts down on the stride. You can see he doesn't have the high kick, and Darrell Porter up under the high fastball, and that's the third strikeout for Charlie Leibrandt.
Danny Cox had a dozen hits this year, a 152 batting average and 6 RBIs. And Brett ready to charge in from third with Balboni holding at first base and Leibrandt going over there.
Really, somebody that pitched in the American League with a DH for about 12 years, they just don't give you the outs. If you go back to what Earl Weaver said, you only get 27 as a manager, but in the American League, you never ever usually bunt in this situation. In the National League, it's almost automatic. We saw it last night a couple of times. Of course, you just want to get the runner into scoring position with Terry Pendleton. Nice to get that extra out every once in a while.
Trying to move him along with McGee waiting on deck. Can't bunt, and it's a strike, and the count is 0-1.
It was interesting, the fake throw by Sundberg, but Balboni was charging, and Frank White had yet to get to first base, so nobody was covering.
Danny Cox at 6'4", 230, and you probably read about it. He doesn't want to talk about it anymore. Had to go back to Georgia to punch out his ex-brother-in-law. Misses again, but that time he did not commit. He held back. 1-1. His former brother-in-law apparently was, according to Cox, threatening the family, and so Danny had to go down there to take things into his own hands. As Whitey Herzog, I'm sure, had his heart in his throat thinking about that right hand.
Oh, Whitey said the good thing, at least he did it on an off day.
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes the count.
Of course, when you're already having elbow problems, I suppose that could compound bruised knuckles.
And he bunts and fouls it at the plate. So the count is a ball and 2 strikes. Some of the crowd is going, what's going on? What had happened was the scoreboard had 2 strikes as the count. The scoreboard operator didn't see it. Now it is correct at 1-2. But the scoreboard operator didn't see Billy Williams say that the second pitch was not a bunt attempt. So they were confused and wondering what was going on. Here's the 1-2, and that's outside. 2-2 the count. Cards and Royals are scoreless. Herzog, and you wonder if he might let Cox swing away with 2 strikes. Brett can't take the chance, though. He still has to play in shallow at third.
Or you wonder if Terry Pendleton might not take off for second base. Balboni has been breaking quickly from first. As you see, Brett still looking for the bunt. But if that first baseman breaks too soon, a good base runner can take advantage of that and take off.
And he's around to bunt again, and that's ball 3. And this is not what Leibrandt wanted to do, go 3-2.
Not at all. When they give you the out, you take it. But then again, you can't always do what you want to do. I'm sure he's probably throwing the ball for the center of the plate. In most bunt situations, they teach you to throw the high fastball. I'm not sure if you're Charlie Leibrandt, that's the best pitch. But he wants to throw a strike.
Let's have a double play, Royal.
Pendleton at first, no score, 1 out, 3rd inning. And the 3-2 is strike 3. Rarely will you see a batter on a bunt attempt with 2 strikes let one go by. He wound up taking the pitch, and down he goes.
Again, just fooled. Fastball right down the middle of the plate. When you're 6'4", sometimes the ball, and this is the truth because that's how tall I am, you'd think the ball is below the knees. But Billy Williams didn't think that, so you go back to the bench.
When was your last at bat in the American League? I guess 1972, huh?
Well, actually, World Series 79.
As McGee hits a fly ball in the air to right center field, deep but playable, and Willie Wilson tracks it down. At the end of 2.5, still no score in game 2.
Stolen bases, pennant races, stand right up and cheer. Now you're talking baseball. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Tenneco is a leading oil and gas producer. Tenneco is America's most successful shipyard. Tenneco is the world's leading exhaust system manufacturer. Tenneco is premium fruit, nuts, and vegetables. Tenneco is one of America's largest natural gas pipelines. The Tenneco family, building on quality.
Beef goes on. McDonald's beef goes on. Your big beef, pure beef, hot and lean. Oh, the beef goes on. You're 100% pure beef machine. Oh yeah, the beef goes on. From Big Mac to quarter pounder, lean and hot. Your big beef taste just won't stop. It's a good time for the great taste. Oh, McDonald's, the beef goes on.
I'm John Tudor, and I'm from the North. I'm George Brett, and I'm from the South.
North and South premieres November 3rd on ABC.
This ABC Sports exclusive presentation of the 1985 World Series is being brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Going to the bottom of the 3rd inning in a scoreless game in game 2. Al Michaels with Jim Palmer and Tim McCarver with Buddy Biancalana to lead things off for Kansas City. Then Leibrandt, and to the top of the order in Lonnie Smith as Biancalana takes outside. Buddy, the switch hitter who batted .188 this season. 1 homer and 6 RBIs. Fouled away, and the count is 1-1. Three straight at this point for him.
Mo Drabowski, a teammate of Jim Palmer in the 1966 series against the Dodgers.
Came in relief of Dave McNally the first game. I saw him strike out 11 in 5 2/3 innings. Mostly on blown away sliders and high fastballs. The next day I went out and pitched a 4-hitter, and they said, when did you know the Dodgers couldn't hit the high fastball? I said, when I watched Drabowski. I mean, it was like an instant replay all afternoon.
And Biancalana is on. And Cox winds up walking the 188 hitter. That was the case last night as well, but only after Biancalana had missed the suicide squeeze attempt. He then drew the walk, and up comes Leibrandt. And you get 3 guesses as to what Leibrandt might be doing here.
I think it's safe to say that Charlie will be bunting.
I think it's the ultimate lock.
On the rug, if you're a third baseman, you can really cheat in and take a shot at the runner at second base.
And he bunts, but too sharply, and Cox goes to Smith, and he goes back to her, and it's a 1-6-4 double play. And that's the second DP pulled off by the Cardinals. So Cox came down off the mound, handled it with dispatch, and there are 2 gone.
Probably the first time that Charlie Leibrandt ever had a bunt in the major leagues. 1 hopper. Again, something you work on spring training. What's impressive is the pivot and the footwork with Ozzie Smith. Just a quick throw to first, double play.
Well, it's the first time he had a bunt, obviously, since joining the Royals, but he was with Cincinnati with a lifetime average of 146 coming in.
There's only one thing tougher than hitting after you hadn't hit for a while, and that's bunting after you haven't bunted for a while.
Smith fouls it away, so neither pitcher is able to do the job in a bunt situation. 2 down.
The reason I say that is that I think there's an innate fear when you square around and face a pitcher. I think that's one of the reasons that guys do not get the ball down, especially on artificial surface. Bunting becomes a different game.
Backhanded by Pendleton. Another nice play after knocking it down. And what a job that man has done defensively in postseason play. Great catch and a great play in the playoffs last night in foul ground. And now a nice stop here by him.
Knocks it down with the heel of his left hand and recovers in a hurry. Good play, Terry Pendleton.
3 rapid innings are gone. No score.
I drink milk because I ask a lot of my body. Milk has things my body needs. Calcium, riboflavin, zinc, powerful nutrition without a lot of calories. And even if you don't expect your body to do 100 meters in 50 flat, think about all you do expect it to do. Milk. It does a body good.
Here's you. Here's your competition. One of you will call AT&T small business experts. One of you won't. One of you will find out how to use long distance.
Distance to cover your customer base.
To beat your competition. So who's going to call? You or the other guy? AT&T long distance services. Talk with us. AT&T, the right choice.
This is the Good News Disposable from Gillette with twin blades for a remarkable shave. Now, even more remarkable, you can get one free. Look for specially marked 5-packs and get a 6th Good News free from Gillette.
No matter how hard you work, Right Guard can help keep you smelling good for up to 24 hours.
You work hard, you need Right Guard.
Tomorrow, the incredible Walter Payton leads the unbeaten Chicago Bears when they battle the explosive Green Bay Packers on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. Live. Then, it's a special night for MacGyver. He's on assignment in Central America to stop a revolution before it shifts the balance of power.
We're out of here.
MacGyver runs the gauntlet. Tomorrow, right after ABC's NFL Football, starting at 6.
4th inning in Kansas City, a scoreless second game of the World Series, and Ozzie Smith gets backed off the plate. Smith, Herr, Clark, and on the bench, Terry Pendleton, who really improved defensively the second half of the season, and that's manifested itself in front of the entire country in the last couple of weeks.
Getting so you can't drive a ball through the left side of the Cardinal infield. Can't even hit one over their heads anymore. Unless you've got a lot of lift, right?
Ozzie fouls it away, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. We were talking about Smith's contract before, the $2 million. One of the things the Cardinals, of course, had to do was to maintain the interest of the fans, and the fans were obviously very upset earlier in the year when they let Bruce Sutter go, let him become a free agent. And it's amazing. I mean, in a way, Whitey Herzog has been almost like the mad scientist. He had a world championship club in '82, and he just about dismantled 2/3 of it and rebuilt it and let Sutter go. Kept Smith. They felt that was important. He's back in the series. Little squiver picked up by Leibrandt. Smith is gone. Meanwhile, let's take a look at that play by Pendleton again.
Well, this is why they call the third base position the reaction position. Ball is on top of you in a hurry, and that ball was no exception. Knocked it down with the heel of his glove and a strong throw. Terry Pendleton. Getting so it's routine with him, isn't it?
Just what the Cardinal left side of the infield needs, huh?
Yeah, right. Another glove man.
Yeah. Tommy Herr takes inside for a ball.
Gave him the nickname Houdini of the hot corner.
And he has been just that.
What makes the position even more difficult on artificial turf is that you, with a guy like Lonnie Smith, anybody that can bunt, you have to cheat in. Ball gets down there in a hurry.
1 ball, 1 strike to count on Tommy Herr. Tommy Herr, good postseason thus far, and a great regular season. He had an MVP type first half of 1985, tailed a bit. Kind of funny though the way he emerged as one of the bit players to a big star. Grounded to short, and Biancalana throws it out. 2 down. Herr was one of those players they did keep from the '82 team, but on that '82 team he was one of the parts, one of the guys who moved guys along and cemented the infield, and now this year he's become a major factor.
Always had the knee problems. Again, we talked last night about the 3 knee surgeries he's had. When you're healthy, it's a lot easier to play the game.
Jack Clark, the batter. Clark, speaking of health, still takes treatment for his rib injury. Spent some time on the disabled list. Last year, Clark went down himself with a knee injury after getting off to the best start of his career with the Giants.
With few exceptions, Leibrandt has done a remarkable job staying ahead of the hitters.
1-1.
Down on the field early, and Buck Martinez, who catches for Toronto, of course had dislocated ankle, broken leg in the middle of the season, said, asked what kind of pitcher. He said he doesn't like to throw strikes, yet he's a control pitcher. And I think what he meant was that he likes to get ahead of you and then throw the ball a little bit off the plate, just off the edge, and have you swing at pitches that are out of the strike zone.
That's what Jim Lonborg used to do, and in the '67 series, he said he was going to do it against the Cardinals lineup, and went out and did it.
Fastball away. 2-2. Brett Saberhagen, he's had that right hand check with the glove on right now, and kind of indicating to us not only is he ready to pitch, he's ready to bat. He'll be the starting pitcher in Game 3 in St. Louis against Andujar. Change is just low, and it had Clark leaning over. 3-2.
I talked to him today. He said he threw yesterday in the bullpen, and actually the bruise was on the heel of his right hand. He said no problem at all.
3-2 to Clark is outside. So Clark at first, Lander the batter, and there is Joaquin Andujar, who had such a great first 2/3 of the season and then slumped in the latter half, but worked twice in the playoffs and slated now for Game 3 Tuesday night, Busch Stadium. Tito Landrum struck out in the second inning. Lifts his foul. This, by the way, is the first World Series with every game played at night. And leave it, of course, to the old Maverick, Charlie Finley, who first suggested it. In fact, Charlie Finley suggested to then Commissioner Ford Frick in 1963 that all World Series games should be played at night. It took him until 1971 to play even one game at night. Half swing strike, and the count is 0-2. So we've gone from 1 to then 3 for a few years to 5, and now all prime time. No balls, 2 strikes, the count. 1-2. Finley, by the way, if you're wondering, owned the Kansas City franchise, not this one, the A's, and then moved them to Oakland. Sold the team after creating that dynasty out there. Is doing quite well, thank you, in the insurance business, which has been his prime concern for years. Funny, though, Tim, when you think about it, how everybody used to think Finley was a lunatic. And a lot of what he suggested has come true, come about.
Well, he did own the sheep that grazed in right field also in the old Kansas City ballpark.
1-2 the count. Charlie O, the mule.
They had the little rabbit that came up out of the ground to give you the ball.
It comes up.
Remember that?
Yeah. And what can you say about a man who knew how to get more publicity than Reggie Jackson? Why is Reggie falling off the stool in the booth here? 1-2 pitch is lined to right field, and that's a base hit. And Clark is on his way to third and in there with runners at the corners. So all of a sudden, with 2 out, Clark a walk, Landrum a single, his 3rd hit of the series, and Cedeno coming up.
Well, a good piece of hitting by Landrum because he was protecting away, protecting the outside part of the plate. And that makes you vulnerable inside. The ball off the plate, as Jim Palmer said, when he gets ahead, he likes to throw those balls a couple of inches off the plate, and a good piece of hitting by Landrum.
It's interesting, though, when you get into a World Series, you have to rely on the scouting reports. The 3 hits he has gotten in the series have all been away, and every time they go in, he makes an out. So I think maybe they better change the way they pitch Landrum.
Cedeno standing well away from the plate, had to reach for that one, and the count is 0-1. If you see where Cesar is standing, he's doing you a favor if you want to work the outside corner, which Leibrandt did there.
Try to position yourself as a hitter where you can reach the outside part of the plate. And most of the time, if a guy stands far away from the plate, he likes the ball away. If he's standing on top of the plate, he likes the ball inside.
Reaching again, fouling it away, and the count is 0-2. So 2 out. Clark is the runner at 3rd, and Landrum is at 1st. No score. Crowd wants to see Leibrandt get out of this jam as they come to life with a count 0-2. And a throw to first base. Crowd has been reduced to cheering for the defense, trying to get things started. And the 0-2 is inside this time, and the count 1-2.
Little purpose pitch, make him aware of the inside part of the plate. Be interesting to see if he'll try to get him out away.
The double that Cedeno had in last night's ball game was a ball that Danny Jackson got in on him, a slider in. He broke his bat and drove in what was to eventually be the winning run.
Cedeno breaks his bat, and it's a looper to beyond Colada. So Leibrandt gets out of the jam, and we are still scoreless after 3 1/2.
Rise and shine, cast your line, catch the limit here. Now you're talking fishing, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Today, Chevrolet is making it fun with an international auto show.
Take a look, get the feel.
See the world from behind the wheel.
Come and be a part of it all.
Today, Chevrolet introduces your next small car. It's designed for high quality, high affordability, and fun. This year, more than 750,000 Americans will buy a small car at your Chevy dealer's International Auto Show. Shouldn't you?
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Chevy.
When we built the first Space Hyatt, we kept all the familiar touches Hyatt is known for on Earth, including the one touch no one else can ever match, the warmth and graciousness of our Hyatt people.
Good evening, Mr. Euchre.
Hey, they even know me up here.
You're in room 200.
200, my lifetime batting average. All right.
It's what makes Hyatt the greatest space on Earth. Wish you were here.
The Dallas Times-Herald calls it one of the few legitimate network quality shows. Spencer for Hire moves to Tuesdays at 10, 9 Central, starting October 29th.
Tommy O'Connell manning the camera there, and here we are as we get set for the bottom of the fourth inning. By the way, I want to point one thing out. Ladies, a significant statistic. Jim Palmer celebrated his 40th birthday earlier this week. And so the next time you look at those ads, just remember, they've had to touch up the varicose veins.
Thanks,
Al. You talk about anonymity, Tim. They had our names reversed on that super. But everybody knows Palmer, not necessarily fully clothed.
What was your line since he turned 40?
That's right. No more jockey. It's on to Geritol now.
Do I talk about your diminutive stature?
Now listen.
Come on.
We'll talk about tennis in a minute. Grounded into right field for a base hit. So Wilson is aboard. A single by Lilly to start things in the bottom of the fourth inning. And now let's see if the Royals can get something going with Brett.
And a straight change that Willie Wilson finds the hole on the right side of the infield. On artificial surface, no way you're going to get to that ball. And there's no way, in my opinion, you're going to keep Willie Wilson from running at first, probably after Brett hits.
George Brett at the plate. Royals have had their chances. They've had the leadoff man on each time. But two double plays have squelched two would-be threats. And then White was left stranded when the side struck out in the second. Strike to Brett, 0-1.
Would you send him with George Brett hitting, Jim?
No.
I wouldn't either.
It's a good situation to have. When from a pitcher, it prevents a lot of problems because it leaves the first base hole into right field open. If you do get Brett out, then you have a guy on first that can steal. But if you're manager Dick Hauser, you don't want to take the bat out of Brett's hand. And you're talking 2 runs here the way he's swinging. He had 2 home run swings last night.
And you got to remember, Bobby Cox walked George Brett with runners at first and third and nobody out. And a scoreless tie ball game in the 7th inning.
And it almost cost him the game because McRae drew that bases loaded walk, and Cox afterwards said it could have been the dumbest decision they ever made. It wasn't, though. He's got 3 in the 9th to win.
Right.
Well, you can do those kind of things when you have a Dave Steve on the mound. That's another way of looking at it.
And there goes Wilson. Gets a good jump, and Brett hits it down the line in right field and into the corner. Wilson had hesitated, but still has time to round third and come in to score on a double. 1-0.
Wilson off with the pitch, and there he goes. He had a super jump, and Dick Hauser putting Wilson in motion, a hit-and-run play. George Brett driving in his first run of the season, and there goes Willie, and now he hesitates. Line drive. Now, when he hits second, he turns on that afterburner and scores easily. Royals up 1-0.
And as was the case last night, Kansas City draws first blood. Last night they scored in the second. Now White is the batter. He singled in the second inning. And this crowd has really come to life. And White is up there to bunt and takes low, ball one. 1-0. White bunted for a hit.
Excuse me, Ali. What he's thinking, even though he's hitting fourth, nobody out, you want to get the runner, George Brett, to third base. And Frank, as you said last night, has hit everywhere in the lineup. Can hit the ball the other way. On the other hand, hate to see him give himself up with a bunt, especially if you can drive ball the other way like he can do.
Up there to swing away, and it's saved by Porter, and the count is 2-0. Last night we talked about the fact with Brett at second base that White has hit in all 9 spots in the order, Jim, during his career. Can you think of another modern-day player who has done that?
No, I can't.
Your time is up. You would have won a trip to Hawaii if you had the answer, and he's sitting right next to you. Do you know that Tim McCarver hit in all 9 spots?
That's right.
As a catcher?
That's right.
What manager had you leading off?
Johnny Keane back in 1963.
Hit foul, and the count is 2-1. Keane had you leading off.
What was he thinking about?
You hit 9th when in the American League.
That's right. Hit 7th and 8th a lot, too. Hit 4th leading off, or hit 4th at the beginning of the 1966 season. I don't really know whether that's good or bad. I think it's more bad than good.
Gets your name in the record book.
I know you can't run because I walked up the hill the other night with you. But what was he thinking about when you let off? Just your on-base percentage? Or?
Blazing speed, pal. That tag, that's the worst tag in the world for a catcher. Runs fast for a catcher.
3-1 pitch is a liner, and that's into the gap for a base hit. Brett around third. He comes in to score. White's going for second, and he's in there. 2-0.
Goes with his best pitch. Looks like a slider up in the strike zone. Up the gap in left center. Again, Landrum, good arm. White running all the way from home plate. Beats it easy. One thing you can do in AstroTurf.
All of the hits in this inning have come on off-speed pitches. A straight change to Wilson, a slider to Brett, and now a slider to Frank White. Mike Rourke, the pitching coach, out to talk to Danny Cox. And I guess one thing he's going to tell him, Jim, is to reestablish the fastball.
Well, he's probably going to ask him how his elbow feels, too. Some concern after Cox pitched the 3rd game of the playoff for the Cardinals. Had problems with his elbow really all year. Bone spur developed in 1982. He's had problems with it. And, Tim, when you throw a slider, that's probably the most injurious pitch for an elbow. Puts a lot of pressure on it.
In the bullpen, Bill Campbell up and throwing. Part of a deep bullpen. Campbell normally the first to get up. They like to go to Worrell and Lottie and Daly later on. So Campbell and Horton, the lefty, have been the long men in postseason, and Bill is up here in the 4th inning. Sheridan, the batter, he struck out. 0-1.
Or are we dumb? We say Mike Rourke's going to go out there and tell him to establish the fastball. He comes back with a straight changeup.
0-1 pitch is grounded to the right side, and it's Jack Clark fielding. He gets the out, and White goes to third. So Sundberg will come up and try to hit a fly ball deep enough to get him in with the score 2-0. Sundberg struck out in the 2nd inning. Royals 2, Cards nothing in game 2. A single by Wilson, a double by Brett. a double by White. And those are the guys that have to do it for him. The infield has to play in. And Ozzie Smith, even though he looks halfway, that's what you would call AstroTurf in at shortstop. You can afford to play halfway and creep. 0-1 the count. Two runs, 5 hits, and no errors for the Royals. No runs, 2 hits, and no errors for the Cards. Sundberg trying to hit the ball in the air and trying to drive it far enough to get him in. Now 0-2.
He had 2 pretty good pitches to do it with. Cox is not as effective up in the strike zone, and it looks like that's really one of the problems he's had. Not only has he hung some breaking balls, even his supposedly sinker has been hanging high.
1-2.
0-2 slider right here. That's tough to take. Sundberg does take it. And it's just a little high.
And he strikes out swinging. Big out for Cox. Infield can go back now, and Balboni is the batter. 4 strikeouts for the Cardinal right-hander. Balboni was his 3rd victim when he struck the side out of the 2nd inning. 4 hits in postseason play, and all of them singles. After hitting 36 home runs to establish a club record during the regular year.
I talked to Lee May, who's the batting instructor for Kansas City, and I said, does Balboni guess for pitches? I mean, does he go up and look for a breaking ball, look for a fastball? He said, no, he tried that. Didn't work. So what he does is looks either inside or outside. So he looks in a zone.
Popped up in foul ground, and Porter getting chased back to the screen, but runs out of room. No balls and 2 strikes to count.
Darrell Porter, one of the few catchers around that still uses the soft cap in which to catch. Most of them have gone to the more protective helmet, the Scully, and that, of course, protects you against the backswing.
And Balboni accidentally making contact. Count still 0-2.
Some question whether he gets hit with this pitch. Looks like it hit him right on the top of the hand. Of course, the rule is if you're swinging at the pitch, it doesn't really matter.
This is one time when you're grazed by a pitch, or if it's debatable, you don't want to go to first base.
That's right. Not with Frank White at 3rd base, and you've driven in 88 runs during the season.
And Biancalana on deck. And that's fouled away. Still 0-2. Steve Bye-Bye Balboni, a minor league legend, came up in the Yankee chain, couldn't stick, finally came over to Kansas City in a deal. Hauser said, "You're my guy. I know you're going to strike out a lot. I also know you're going to hit some homers for me. So your name's in that lineup every day." And he stuck to his word. 1-2 the count.
Joe Torre used to say the one thing a hitter's got to do is forget his last at bat. And that's one thing Steve Balboni is having a tough time doing now. He is pressing.
2-2. He's had a tough postseason, there's no question about that. Oddly, he had a key hit in one of the playoff games when it was a little bloop in the center field for a base hit.
It's only RBI in the playoffs.
2-2 pitch is lifted in the air to left center field, deep, but it's playable as he had to reach out for it. Really wasn't that good of a swing, but it shows you the power he has as he drives McGee that deep. So George Brett doubles to drive in a run, then scores the other, and we played 4 with Kansas City leading St. Louis 2-0 in Game 2.
set of those Michelins, please?
Great tire. But I can let you have a set of these for a lot less than the Michelins.
Are they as good?
They're good.
Do they last as long?
Well, I'll tell you, you're probably going to sell your car before the Michelins wear out anyway.
Do they handle as well?
Chances are you'll never have to find out.
I don't want to take that chance. I'll spend the difference and get the Michelins.
Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Out on the town, flying around, pizzas disappear. Now you're talking Friday night, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Stroh Light, smooth, refreshing, less filling.
Now you're talking Stroh's, now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here.
Power. That's what I practice for. Power. And afterward, I want all the power I can get in my antiperspirant. Speed Stick.
Now, Speed Stick is improved with the most powerful wetness fighter you can buy. Nothing, but nothing fights wetness better.
The Wide Stick. Man-sized protection. Saves a lot of strokes. Helps keep you drier and odor-free all day.
Now it's the most powerful you can buy. New improved Speed Stick antiperspirant.
By Menon.
The U.S., the USSR, advancing toward an historic meeting, positioning their pieces. Reagan and Gorbachev in Geneva. Follow the moves to the summit with ABC News.
This ABC Sports exclusive presentation of the 1985 World Series is being brought to you by the Coca-Cola Company and your local bottler of Coke and Coca-Cola Classic.
2-0 Kansas City here in Game 2. The Royals trying to square the World Series and the bottom of the Cardinal order. Terry Pendleton leading off against Leibrandt, and the count is 0-1. Pendleton, Porter, and Cox. This game being broadcast and televised around the world. There are the Japanese broadcasters. Probably sounding a lot more intelligible than we are. 0-1 pitch is inside. So I suppose we should wish them, what, an Ohio gozaimasu? Is that it?
A lot of former major leaguers playing in Japan now. Randy Bass, one of them, formerly with the Houston Astros.
That's grounded to Brett at third, who backs up. Plants gets it. One third baseman throwing out the other for the first down here in the 5th inning. And Darryl Porter coming to the plate.
The reason I mentioned Randy Bass playing in Japan, he just broke, or actually didn't break O's record. He holds the record of 54 home runs in a season, but Randy Bass just hit his 52nd last week. 52 home runs in 1 year.
That will get the American clubs re-interested in you, won't it?
Yeah, right.
0-1 the count. And it's not unprecedented. Guys have gone over there and come back, a la Terry Whitfield recently, now playing with the Dodgers.
Davey Johnson, the manager of the Mets, came back and played two more years in the major leagues.
Porter strokes it foul down the line. Count 0-2. The I-70 series. Here we are on the western border of the state, hard by the Missouri River. Tuesday, hard by the Mississippi. About 250 miles to the east. Just outside. 1-2 again. Tuesday, Wednesday, and if necessary, Thursday, Busch Stadium. And all of the games in the World Series, easy to remember, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Dial away. Game 3, Saberhagen and Andujar. Game 4, you would suspect that Herzog will come back with Tudor. But I got the feeling from Dick Hauser today he's not going to come back with Danny Jackson in Game 4. And he'll push him back one more day to 5. And it could be Bud Black. Though Black right now has to be available for relief duty as you look at Dick Hauser.
Well, Kansas City pitched basically all year with a 5-man rotation. That's the thing I think is interesting about tonight's game. Leibrandt pitched, started the first game, only lasted 2 innings. Went 8 innings in the 4th game, which was only 3 days, or really the 4th day, but with 3 days rest, and then came back with only 3 more days of rest and pitched great in relief. Tonight he's starting with only 3 days rest. Will it affect him sometime in the ballgame? Will he get a little bit tired?
2-2, got him looking on the inside corner. Porter's sort of leaning over the plate, and it got the black on the inside. Strikeout number 5.
Certainly not tired yet. Good fastball. Right on the inside part of the plate.
I think Leibrandt shows why it's more important to work both sides of the plate as opposed to up and down. Much more effective pitcher when you work both sides of the plate, and Leibrandt is doing it masterfully here tonight.
Outside to Cox, who struck out trying to bunt in the 3rd inning. 1-0. One and one.
To amplify that point, Tim, what he said is he used to go out and hope that he would pitch well. He came up with a changeup, and it gave him more confidence not only in the changeup but also in the fastball. And you know you can get another pitch over that allows you to experiment and move your fastball in and out a little bit more. Otherwise, you're just in trouble. The hitter just has one thing to look for.
And Cox strikes out. 6 Ks for Charlie Leibrandt after 4.5. Royals 2. Cards zip.
When it's time for fun, take it on the run. Introducing today's Sprint, the import from Chevrolet that loves to run.
Loves to save, loves to run. Grab a Sprint, share the fun.
Sprint's 3-cylinder overhead cam engine combines extraordinary mileage with zippy performance. And with Sprint's low sticker price, the fun has just begun. Today's Sprint, it loves to run.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Chevy.
Coldwell Banker is America's largest full-service real estate company. And these days, you don't get bigger unless you do it better. Coldwell Banker, the home sellers, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
The essence of climbing. John Bacher.
You gotta know the rock, every inch of it. But what gets you over is a feeling that says you're going all the way.
The essence of shaving.
This is the Gillette Good News disposable razor. Light, easy to handle, twin blades. But what Good News is really all about is a feeling. A feeling you only get from Gillette.
Good News and Good News Pivot from Gillette. The essence of shaving.
Go for the lean. Arby's lean beef and cheddar or bacon cheddar deluxe. Lean! Be lean! Arby's tender, juicy lean roast beef with tangy cheddar cheese. Or with cheese, lettuce, tomato, and bacon. 2 delicious ways to eat lean and feel terrific. Be lean! Eat lean! Eat lean! On the lean team! Lean on me! Go for Arby's beef and cheddar or bacon cheddar deluxe. Lean on into Arby's!
Our trucks, our whole production crew is right down there. That's where Chet Forty calls up and wants to know why everybody does bunt right from those trucks. And as we look out past the parking lot, that was Arrowhead Stadium and into Royal Stadium. So you can see visually just how close these two stadiums are. And this afternoon, the Los Angeles Rams across the parking lot stayed unbeaten. Beat the Chiefs 16-0 and they're 7-0. Buddy Biancalana is the batter. Drew a walk his first time up. Switch hitting shortstop. Hits one toward the middle, but Tommy Herr is there and gets him. Let's get a mid-game comment from Reggie Jackson. What do you think, Reg?
No, I see an outstanding performance from Charlie Leibrandt, and then you see the Kansas City Royals. They've been listening to what we've been saying about their offense and what they've been reading in the newspaper, that they're not scoring runs. So what do? You see Frank White lay down a bunt, a cleanup hitter. Then you see him try to steal a couple of bases. He's only stole 10 all year. And, of course, the same old story again. They realize they've got to win the ball game. They realize they've got to step to the forefront. Mr. George Brett with a big base hit. Now what they want to do, continue to get that good pitching from Charlie and hang on and win this ball game.
Leibrandt goes after the first pitch, pops it up in foul territory, and Pendleton makes the catch. So 2 down, and Lonnie Smith will be the hitter. No team, by the way, has won the first 2 games of a World Series on the road since 1972, when the Oakland A's did it at Cincinnati, and then the Reds were able to go out to Oakland and win 2 out of 3 and then square that series in the 6th game, and eventually Oakland won in Game 7, which was the first of their 3 successive World Championships. And that was a series in which 6 of the 7 games were decided by 1 run, and Reggie Jackson had to watch as a spectator because he was injured in the playoffs against Detroit. Swing and a miss, and the count 0-1 on Lonnie Smith, who has singled and grounded out. Pendleton making a nice play.
Gene Tennis was the most valuable player of that 1972 World Series against the Reds.
And a pretty good series by Joe Rudy as well, defensively. Fouled away, and the count is 0-2. Funny, that series, and since we're on that topic, Hal McRae played in that series as a Red, and people forget, but McRae, as a pinch hitter in Game 7, came about 3 feet from hitting a grand slam home run.
And I'm one of those people that forgot.
Yes. Not McRae, though.
That was the first of 3 World Championships in a row for the Oakland A's.
In the air to left center field, and it's Landrum backing up. He makes the catch, and that's a quick inning as the Royals go out 1-2-3. Score is 2-0 going to the 6th. Back after this word from our local stations.
Tomorrow, the incredible Walter Payton leads the unbeaten Chicago Bears when they battle the explosive Green Bay Packers on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. Live. Then, it's a special night for MacGyver. He's on assignment in Central America to stop a revolution before it shifts the balance of power.
We're out of here.
MacGyver runs the gauntlet. Tomorrow, right after ABC's NFL Football, starting at 6.
You know, I've been a beer drinker for a bunch of years. Like you, I've seen a lot of beer commercials. There's one beer that people loved before it was even advertised. You see, Coors was kind of the beer at my folks' place. People thought it was different, special. And that was true long before there were any jingles or promotions. It's the product people love, not the hoopla. You think about that. How many products can you say that about? Coors is the one.
Take it out, close your eyes, and throw. The odds are that British Airways flies there. British Airways, the world's favorite airline.
Tune to the new K-Lite 100 FM. All music, all memories. K-Lite 100 FM.
Coming up right after the movie tonight, Tommy Lasorda analyzes Game 2 of the World Series, and friends rally to support a gay Marine who wants out of the service at 11.
The California Lottery Show starts October 28th.
This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Al Michaels, Jim Palmer, Tim McCarver with you at the World Series Game 2. 2-0 Kansas City on top. As they try to square things, teams will travel to the Mound City and resume action on Tuesday night at Busch Stadium. Willie McGee grounded out, flied out, and he is now 1 for 6 in the 2 games. One and 0.
It's interesting how the Royal outfield is playing Willie McGee. Willie Wilson over toward right center, and Lonnie Smith straight away in left. Big gap in left center.
1-1 the count. A look visually there, the room that McGee has.
Of course, if it's got a hump in it and stays in the ballpark, Willie Wilson's going to catch it. When it's not a line drive, Willie Wilson catches it.
One hopper, nice play by Charlie Leibrandt to get it. old cliche about a pitcher helping himself, and a perfect illustration right there. Otherwise, that's an inning beginning base hit.
Well, pitcher is the 5th infielder. Helps to be 6'3". Top of the leap. It's going to be a tough play because if it goes over Charlie's head, White's certainly not going to throw him out.
Smith at the plate. And the other thing, too, not only a base hit for McGee if Leibrandt doesn't make the play, but oft times that turns into a double because he can steal second. 6 strikeouts tonight for Leibrandt. 7 his high for the season. He did that twice. 1-1. Leibrandt finished very strongly this year. Final 12 starts over the last 2 months. He was 7-3 with an earned run average under 2. 1-2 the count.
There's one thing that does account for more strikeouts possibly in the National League and even in a World Series game. Of course, you get to face the pitcher. Tonight, Danny Cox has batted twice, and Leibrandt struck him out both times. In the American League, you don't face the pitcher.
To center, Wilson backs up and gets there, and in his tracks makes the catch. 2 down. Leibrandt has now retired 6 in a row. He started the game by retiring 6 in a row, and he had another streak of 5.
You mentioned how fast he closed. He was also strong at Royal Stadium here. He was 9-2 and 8-7 on the road.
Tommy Herr, 0 for 2. Grounds it, and there's Brett from his knees getting up and throwing about. And does that bring the crowd to its feet?
George Brett showing Terry Pendleton that he's not the only one who can play third base. Some play by Brett.
It's the World Series, and it's shades of Nettles as well.
IBM presents You Make the Call. A batter hits a ball to the fence in left field, but as the fielder tries to catch it, he deflects the ball over the wall with his glove. Is it a home run? You make the call.
If you're waiting to buy a personal computer, you may have questions about power, expandability, and dollars and cents. For the complete answer, take a close look at IBM. An IBM PC runs thousands of programs, expands easily, and prices are better than ever. So don't wait. Once you take the first step, the rest come easy. IBM personal computers.
As long as the ball doesn't hit the ground before it goes over the fence, it's a home run, even if the fielder deflected it with his glove. If you said so, then you made the right call.
Mr. Goodwrench knows your car's engine is an inferno of heat and friction. 100, 200 piston strokes of engine wear per second. It needs the life-saving fluid that protects it right. GM Goodwrench Motor Oil. Takes the friction, takes the heat. It's everything General Motors asks for in a fine motor oil. Get it from Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better. No one.
Coming Sunday, November 3rd.
Do you think this game Doubleday so taken with will catch on?
John Jake's epic story, North and South.
An off-speed pitch by Charlie Leibrandt, and watch the diving catch by Brett. Outstretched glove, and he has the wherewithal to get to his feet and throw out Herr. Fine play by George Brett.
Two 2-0 Kansas City on top as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning with Willie Wilson to lead things off. And then you know Brett, well, he doesn't have to make a play to get a great hand, but the ovation will be slightly larger, I'm sure. And White, 0-1 is the count on Wilson, who is hit into a double play and single to right. Lifted down the line, curling into foul territory, and no more miracles for Pendleton. He's already made 2 of those plays.
I wonder if they're going to give him an error on that. I mean, you do expect him to make that play now. Wilson just inside. 1-2. Looking in from right field, you can see
exactly where he hit the ball the last time.
2-2 the count.
I think the most interesting thing that I see about Willie Wilson, here's a guy that won the batting championship. And here's the fastball inside. Again, that's where they're trying to pitch him when they get ahead in the count. But batting champ in 82, 230 hits in 80. He used to choke up. This year, 278. I asked Lee May, what's the difference? He said he's trying to hit home runs.
Grounded to Hurry. He'll have to hurry, and he does not get it. No. And Hurry's arguing with Jim McKean, the first base umpire, and that will also provoke a visit from Whitey Herzog. So our first argument of the World Series ensues.
It's really hard for a manager to come out and argue like this because he's really going on the reaction of his second baseman and his first baseman.
Sure.
You can't see the play as well from the dugout, but we can see it well from this angle. Strong throw by her. Was he out? I thought it was a good call. I don't know.
Hard to tell us. See from this angle. Super slow-mo.
He was out. I retract that statement. They had him.
I thought when I looked at it with the naked eye that he was out. But Wilson has gotten aboard with a leadoff single here in the bottom of the sixth inning, and Brett is the batter. So this is the way the fourth inning began. And before that inning was over, Brett had doubled and so had White. Here's another angle. Looks like the ball is there.
Yep.
One and 0 the count. In the air, foul, and out of play. Funny the way teams get into streaks and individuals get into streaks, and then you get into a streak where you get all the calls from the umpires, and the Royals are in one of those streaks right now because in the American League playoffs, a lot of highly controversial calls, but on balance, most of them went for Kansas City.
Certainly did. And the wind blew the, you talked to Bobby Cox, the wind blew the right way for him the last night. Sundberg's home run, or excuse me, triple off the top of the fence. Sheridan's home run, somewhat windblown. Toronto's hitting the ball well to left center. They're staying in the park.
There goes Wilson, and the ball is hit foul. So they send him, and Brett fouls it away. And in the bullpen, the Cardinals are busy. Once again, back of Cox.
Of course, if you come out as a manager to argue and discuss a play a lot of times, and there the right-hander, Bill Campbell, Ricky Horton, the left-hander on your right, when you come out to argue, Al, basically you're doing it to protect your players because they obviously think the call's wrong, and also you're posturing maybe to get another call later on. And then if you're trailing 2-0 and you know Wilson can run.
And he's running right here, and Brett hits it high in the air to deep left field, but it's catchable for Landrum, and he makes the play, and Wilson retreats to first base. So Brett sends it a long way the other way, but it stays in. One gone.
And that's a play people at home are looking at, and they say, why with Willie Wilson's speed do you not go back to first base and tag up? Somewhat of a good question if you know the ball is catchable, but in baseball normally with nobody out you go, or excuse me, you might go back and tag up. Sometimes with one out you would definitely go back and tag up. It's kind of a judgment call.
Of course, with him running on the play, he's got too far to go. Really, he was almost at second base by the time Landrum caught the ball, and really had to go back to first and go back down to second. It's almost a time around the bases, isn't it?
Frank White with a runner going, takes low, and Wilson steals second. And a good jump, and the Puerto compounds it, and Willie with a steal. 43 during the regular season.
This often happens when a guy can run and he gets that kind of jump. 4 steps in motion by the time Cox released the ball. And Darrell Porter throws the third base side. But even with a good throw, you're not going to get Wilson with that kind of jump and that kind of speed.
1 ball and no strikes to count on White. Herr ducking in behind, and so Cox backs off.
Another important thing is Cox is a big guy, 6'4". When you're big, it takes you longer to deliver the ball to home plate. And they talk anything over really about 1.3 seconds, you don't have a chance to throw out a base runner, even with a perfect throw.
I tell you, Jim, it's also a good chance to steal third because you take more chances with 1 out. That's when you really want to take the chance to make the second out at third base. You don't want to take a chance when it's the first or third out. Good time to run right now.
Three and 0 the count. On deck is Sheridan, a left-handed batter. So it's conceivable that if he doesn't, as you look at Sheridan, if Cox doesn't get White, then that's one reason that Horton is up and throwing in the bullpen. Of course, were that to happen, you'd probably see a counter move by Hauser to bring up Motley. And we'll find out now, because White has drawn the walk, putting runners at first and second, and Sheridan the batter. And Porter, if nothing else, going to the mound to buy some time. (2-0) Kansas City with 2 runs in the 4th inning. Wilson a single, Brett a double to drive in Willie. White followed with a double. Meanwhile, Leibrandt has limited St. Louis to 2 hits. Herzog is still in the dugout, and now he's going to send Mike Rourke to the mound. And with Rourke trotting to the mound, that immediately would tell you no pitching change. Rourke out there to talk with Cox.
You saw Whitey Herzog shaking his head no, and one would imagine that Mike Rourke would have asked Whitey if he wanted to make a pitching change. Also, Whitey said, nope, you go out and talk to him.
And you know that Whitey knows, as we said before, if he brings in a Horton, which he might want to do if he knew Sheridan would stay in there, but he probably knows that Hauser would go the other way and send up Motley. So he's opted to have Cox face Sheridan as opposed to go with Horton against Motley.
Kind of an unusual situation to send your catcher out, try to build up confidence in your pitcher, and the manager sends you out there to buy time so the guys in the bullpen can warm up.
Outside, 1-0.
Well, that's the great confidence builder. You go out, start an inning, and they get guys up in the bullpen. That's when you know you're going real well. Just a matter of time.
Good changeup. 1-1.
Well, again, it goes back. 6'4", 230. You think the hard fastball, he gets in a jam. I think he'll go with his fastball, but he really just has about an average fastball, 85, 86 miles per hour.
Took something off that one and turned it over, and the count is 2-1. And now it is 3-1 with Sundberg on deck. Wilson at second and White at first, and Clark goes to the mound with a count 3-1.
Talk about an ideal hitting situation for Pat Sheridan. 3-1, not a good running situation for Wilson. You want that hitter to go to Hacken. 3-2, different story. They'll be sending him.
And now it is 3-2. So you'll see the runners moving. In terms of striking out, Sheridan this season struck out 38 times in 206 at-bats, which is a relatively high ratio. So you always run the risk of the double play if he Ks. And they do not send the runners, and they strike them out on a changeup. So they may have stayed out of what would have been a double play by holding them. Odd decision by Hauser, but it turns out to be the right one.
Again, crucial situation. What pitch does he go to? Changeup. 3-2, totally fooled. Way, way, way out in front of that pitch.
Sundberg has struck out twice tonight. Cox has struck out 5. He's gotten Sundberg twice, Sheridan twice, and Balboni once. 1 to go. That's a strike on the corner to the chagrin of Sundberg, and the count is 1-1. Comebacker. Cox gets out of the jam. So the Royals threaten and nothing doing. No runs a hit, leave a couple. On to the 7th inning in Game 2, 2-0 Kansas City.
Today, American tax laws are under review.
Can we continue to allow this kind of tax structure?
Investors call Merrill Lynch.
I got taxes on my investments.
Our Washington people are finding out where the various factions stand.
What stake do you have in this? 4 million investors at Merrill Lynch. What happens here is important. I'm just watching things and keeping our clients informed.
The reports from Washington tell us that this could be the biggest change in history.
More resources, better solutions.
Hey, call me if there's something new.
Merrill Lynch people, a breed apart.
Strength, pride, tradition. For centuries, the Clydesdales have been known as a special breed. Today, the Clydesdales symbolize Budweiser's dedication to quality, superior ingredients, exclusive beechwood aging, for a distinctively clean, crisp taste you find only in the king of beers. Dedication to quality. You know what it means, because it shows in everything you do. Quality taste, because this Bud's for you.
Tomorrow, a special night for MacGyver. He's in Central America where a revolution could shift the balance of power.
You're out of here.
MacGyver, tomorrow after ABC's NFL football.
This ABC Sports exclusive presentation of the 1985 World Series is being brought to you by Budweiser. For all you do, this Bud's for you.
On to the 7th inning. 2 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Royals. No runs, 2 hits, and no errors for the Cardinals. Both hits singles for St. Louis. All the scoring in the 4th. When Wilson singled, Brett doubled him home, and White followed with a double to get in Brett. 2-0. To the 7th we go with Jack Clark leading off by popping it up in foul ground. Sundberg may have a play and does. That's 8 in a row set down by Leibrandt.
Here in Royal Stadium, you do not have the problem that you have in most ballparks because you have a lot of room behind home plate. Jim Sundberg, however, did show some white, didn't he? Little snow cone, that ball rolling around the web of the glove, the pocket of the glove. But he caught it handily.
Landrum at the plate, fouling it away, and the count is 0-1.
The one problem a catcher does have in foul pop-ups, the ball is always coming back to you. And the one thing you don't want to do is run under the ball too much. When the ball comes down, you find yourself backpedaling backwards. You look right foolish on some of those balls, especially in windy Candlestick.
1-1, and it's inside for ball 2. Leibrandt This is not unusual for Charlie. 10 times this season, he had gone 6 innings at the outset of a game, shutting out the opposition. 2-2 the count. And when you can do that, and you've got a Quisenberry, you're going to pick up a lot of victories.
We sure are. Reminds me a lot of Scotty McGregor, where it looks like his intent is to have them hit the ball. Again, we talked about the strikeouts, averages around 4 a game. Doesn't want to strike you out. He wants you to swing the bat, make contact, but make outs. Softly hits it short. Biancalana on the run, throws him out, and there are 2 away. 2 down. Leibrandt, by the way, had 3 shutouts overall this season. And Cedeno is the batter who's grounded out, popped out. Earlier when he came up, Tim, we were talking about the fact that he and Bobby Bonds generally regarded as the men with the most natural ability, and they were so similar as players when they came up in the 70s. They could hit with power, great arms, great speed. And a lot of people still feel, even though both had good careers, they've come up just a little short.
Well, of course, Bobby Bonds came up short in his stolen base count for his career.
Didn't he, in that commercial? I don't know if you've been reading about it recently. Bonds did that beer commercial in which he's with a cricket player, and he asked Bobby how many bases he stole, and I think Bonds said something along the lines of 681, and then somebody finally figured out, well, Bobby only stole in the 400s.
Bobby was counting the minor leagues and
spring training,
league.
Little League, Pony League.
Right.
He went way back in the books. But after the fact, first of all, they tried to write it off as a typographical error. Yeah. And then they found they were 200 short.
0-1 pitch is popped in the air in foul territory. Sundberg coming over toward the unfriendly dugout this time and back out of play. When you come to your own dugout, you'll get some help, but not the other way. 0-2. That is Bob Forsch in the bullpen for St. Louis. Forsch does not figure to pitch in relief. You would think he's throwing more in between what might be a start, but might not. He's kind of the odd man out right now in the Cardinal scheme of things. So he may just be throwing to keep the arm loose. Just off the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Again, we talked about in and out. Here's out. Wonder how you can take that pitch. Maybe Cedeno has a good eye. He certainly did on that one.
2-2. Cedeno earlier this season picked up his 2,000th career hit in this milestone year, with Rose eclipsing Cobb, with Carew getting 3,000, Necro and Seaver each winning their 300th. Cedeno picked up his 2,000th hit, and a man in the other dugout, Hal McRae, also had his 2,000th hit this season. Still 2-2. Grounded to third, and Brett throws it out. Leibrandt is scintillating. 10 in a row. 2-0 KC, middle of the 7th.
Hershey Bar, one of the old-time greats. When you want pure milk chocolate, with or without almonds, nothing but a Hershey bar will do. One of the old-time greats.
Now, Chevy announces finance savings up to $1,524 on new 85 S10 Blazer, America's most popular sport utility vehicle. Choose InstaTrack 4-wheel drive, available V6, all the comforts. Save up to $1,060 on new 85 S10 pickup and Maxi Cab 2. Get big 8.8% finance savings on any new 85 Chevy S10 in dealer stock. But this offer is for a limited time, so hurry. Nothing works like a Chevy truck.
The following message is furnished by Major League Baseball.
1985 has been a great year for me and a record-breaking year for the family of baseball. Like any family, we've had our share of problems, and we're working hard to solve them. But we've had some great performances, too. Just take that young man in St. Louis, and that kid on the mound in New York, and that youngster like myself in Houston. From all of us in the family of baseball to all you families who cheered for us, thank you for sharing a great season.
Major League Baseball, a family tradition. Share it all.
Under the glow of a new day, they will run over 19,000 strong. Live from start to finish, the New York City Marathon next Sunday on ABC Sports.
Monday on ABC's World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, the battle over a dam that could save jobs but destroy one of America's greatest white water rivers. Monday on ABC's World News Tonight. To the strains of Kansas City, here I come. The 7th inning stretch at Royal Stadium. Saw that institutional with our old buddy Pete Rose a moment ago, who I understand today predicted the Cardinals in 4. Well, 2-0 Royals as they try to square things. I sort of get the feeling that Pete might be looking in from Cincinnati tonight. Balboni, half swing, doesn't come around. Well, the story earlier this year, Rose, of course, not only what he is as a player, but as a great sports fan. And naturally went out, bought the ultimate toy this year, the satellite dish. Grounded to third, and Pendleton throws him out. So Balboni is gone, and Biancalana the batter. And Rose now not only a player, of course, wanting to scout the other teams, but a manager who goes to bed at 5 o'clock in the morning watching tapes of Texas Ranger games.
I was a little surprised at Pete's bold prediction of the Cardinals 4 in a row, because Pete is not one to make bold predictions, is he?
He may change tomorrow morning. He may also still be right. 2-0 Kansas City, bottom of the 7th inning. Biancalana takes inside. In the bullpen, Joe Beckwith on the left, Mark Gubazar on the right, and they're really just getting in there throwing, because we're to Quisenberry time. If they have to go to the bullpen, and the way Leibrandt is going, he doesn't look like he needs any help at all. Strike, 2-1.
I have to admire the job that Danny Cox has done, other than the 3 successive mistakes basically he made. He's pitched a whale of a game. Go back to 1983, Cooperstown. Brooks Robinson, day after, they called him up from the minors. I said, who's this guy that's got the great sinker and the outstanding slider? Last year didn't have an impressive year, 9-11, but 18-9, pitched all the big ones for him this year and won them.
And Biancalana drew the walk. You saw him hesitate, but he not used to drawing walks. When you hit 188, you don't draw a lot of walks, but that's the 3rd he's drawn in the World Series.
And second tonight.
So again, something you don't want to do. You see the fastball just run off the corner. I don't think he really knows what the count is.
Somebody tell David Letterman they're pitching around Biancalana. But he says he doesn't want to be on that show anyway. The ratings are too low. He wants to be on with Koppel, he says. He'll do Nightline.
But he
Not late night.
also said that he was closer in his pursuit of Ty Cobb and Pete Rose than David Letterman was in his pursuit of Johnny Carson.
But he's gotten a lot of acclaim from that.
That's the year of Biancalana and Forrester.
Yeah. Leibrandt takes a strike. Charlie up there to bunt, as was the case the first time he came up, and he bunted into a double play. Then he fouled out swinging away, so he's 0 for 2.
Well, he's a fast learner. I mean, you're butting a double play. Maybe you have to let the next one go. Figure a strikeout, at least you'll leave a man on base.
And he takes another strike, and it's quickly 0-2 for a man who, in the National League with the Reds, had a 146 career batting average. He was 13 for 89.
I think Tim said very well earlier, not only is it a tough visual perspective for a pitcher sometimes to bunt, but
he lays this one down, and Cox will tag him, And this time he is able to sacrifice.
The fact of the thought is that when you bunt on AstroTurf, you're more worried about making a perfect bunt because it's so easy to defense the bunt. There, Biancalana running more or less, you know you have a lot more confidence in getting the ball down.
Leibrandt getting a partial standing O as he went back, not only for doing the job, but also they're saluting him for the performance he has turned in on the mound. 2 down. And here's Lonnie Smith, singled, grounded out. Pendleton made a nice play. And then flied out. So 1 for 3 tonight. 257 hitter during the regular year. Look out, 1-0. This should do it for Cox because he's due to come up third in the 8th. One and one. Error ball boy. Biancalana back to second. Landrum tossing a souvenir into the seats.
Lonnie Smith hitting that ball hard to left field, but foul, but he got the good part of the bat on it. I would imagine Cox and Porter will go outside with a slider now. Guy hits the ball that hard foul. You don't want to keep coming inside.
Down the middle he comes, and it's a base hit, and they're waving in Biancalana. Here comes Landrum's throw. It is right there, and they nail it. And Buddy doesn't like the call as Porter had to take it out in front of the plate and come back to get him. But the Royals taking every advantage of every opportunity, and Ferraro never hesitated, sending them home. Watch again.
One of the unsung heroes early, Tito Landrum. 2 fine plays last night, a couple of hits, and watch this throw. Inside part of the diamond, Porter has to leave the plate. Dive back to get Biancalana. Some throw.
The last half of the 9th inning. And to go over that Berra play once again, it was a hard hit drive down the first base side. The Nelson fielded on the first hop and tagged the bag at first. Eliminated Berra. He was out. And then Mantle could have been in a rundown, but it was not the case. He dove back safely to first base. Here's a ball 1 too high down to Maserati. And the Yankees have tied the game in the top of the 9th inning. Well, a little while ago when we mentioned this one...
Season after season, the people who brew Budweiser have been proud to be part of America's national pastime with you.
Mark Ditmar throws. Here's a swing and a high fly ball going deep to left, and they do it. Back to the ball goes
Hold on tight, let it flow. Feels so right. Here we go. Honda ATV gets ya where you wanna be. Honda ATV gets you where the fun is.
Honda makes a complete line of ATVs for doing all kinds of things, especially having all kinds of fun.
Honda ATV gets you where the fun is.
Take a look. Sears store-wide 2-day sale. And save on this Craftsman 3/8-inch variable speed reversible drill. Half price, $19.99. Gear up for winter. Save 50% on this Prestone antifreeze offer. Sears wiper blades or refills. Half price, $1.49. So take a look. Savings throughout the store. Now, during Sears 2-day sale.
There's more for your life at Sears.
All right, have another look now from a different angle here.
It was a fine throw by Landrum, but not so sure that Porter made the tag. If he did, he tagged the top foot. I don't know. Very close in that angle.
That angle made it look like he was safe as Balboni makes the play nicely on the ground ball hit by Pendleton. And there's one away. We're going to look again. This is a very tough call, though. If you're Billy Williams, this is as close a play as you're going to see at home plate.
If he did get him, then he tagged that top foot. If he missed the top foot, he was safe. It was obviously Billy Williams' call, and he thought he tagged the top foot.
Lynn Jones, who's now in left field, Lonnie Smith is out. With a 2-run lead, they go to the defense. And Porter takes outside, ball 1. 1-0 the count.
This is something you touched on last night, again, about the Cardinals. They can beat you so many ways. Tito Landrum, normally a defensive outfielder, not only is he hit, he makes a throw like that. And he usually goes in for defense to do that late inning help. As you see Brian Harper on deck.
Pitcher due up next, Cox. So he is done for the night, having yielded 2 runs in 7 innings. But he's been trumped by Leibrandt, who backs Porter away. 2-1.
Remember Darryl Porter when he had that open stance? I mean, he's made a complete change. He used to be wide open like Brian Downing. Now he's got a closed stance. Scout said he's gone from a low ball hitter to a high ball hitter.
Looped foul. 2-2 the count. Leibrandt with 3 shutouts this season, and he seems to rise to the occasion because he pitched them against Toronto, the White Sox, and the Angels, 3 clubs that had good years. Fouled away, and the count still 2-2.
Another thing to think about when you think of those 3 clubs, they're also aggressive ball clubs. In other words, as I said, he goes up there to make the hitters hit the ball. They will swing some balls out of the strike zone. So you throw strikes early in the count, and then you just kind of work at the corners, or just a little bit off the corners. And he's done that great tonight.
High in the air to left center field, but a lot of room for Lynn Jones. 2 down. Charlie Leibrandt has not allowed a base runner since the 4th inning. He has now retired 12 in a row, and Brian Harper comes up to bat for Cox. Leibrandt this season 2nd in the league to Dave Steve in earned run average at 2.69. Harper, you talk about great trades. He came over in the deal with Pittsburgh that also brought Tudor for George Hendrick, now with the Angels, and a minor league catcher.
Really Steve Braun's counterpart. Brian Harper usually hits in game situations, late in the game.
One ball and 1 strike to count on Harper. Little squibber foul, and the count 1-2.
Charlie Leibrandt, certainly the story tonight. I mean, the Cardinals have not hit too many balls hard off of it.
2 hits were loopers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Landrum and Pendleton.
Talk about a guy keeping the ball off the big part of the bat. Leibrandt's done that about as well as you could do it so far.
2 balls and 2 strikes now on Harper. 1 walk, 6 strikeouts for Leibrandt. Crowd really into it with their club leading 2-0, and Leibrandt mowing him down. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two runs, 7 hits for the Royals. No runs, 2 hits for the Cardinals. Go back to 71 in the Pittsburgh-Baltimore World Series. Nelson Briles, a 2-hit shutout.
Remember that well. Yeah, falling down after every pitch. Not every pitch, but just on the ones hit back up the middle.
Leibrandt 4 outs away.
When you can't field, you better get out of the way.
In the air to left center field, and there's Lynn Jones. Three up and 3 down. 2-0 Kansas City, and we'll be back with the 1985 World Series Game 2 after this word from your local stations.
Spencer for Hire, the series that the Newark Star-Ledger calls the best new drama series of the season. Robert Urich, the man the New York Times calls the perfect television star. Spencer for Hire. Moving to Tuesdays at 10, 9 Central, starting October 29th.
Telesis. The dictionary defines it as progress intelligently planned. This is a story of Telesis. Letter to the Consul General, July 1852. I confess that my scheme is still a mere dream. The cutting of a canal through the desert of Suez has been thought to be impossible. Yet the opening of communications between two isolated worlds would be of immense benefit to our civilization. I beg for your support in this undertaking. For so long as I alone believe it can be done, it will never be done. Yours sincerely, Ferdinand de Lesseps. Pacific Telesis salutes that special kind of progress, guided by those with a vision to see not just what can be done, but what ought to be done. The Pacific Telesis Group is committed to progress intelligently planned. That's why Telesis is an important part of our name.
You're really on the move from coast to coast, so you need a bank that can keep pace with you. Well, only First Interstate has day and night tellers all over the West and is part of Cirrus. So you can get cash instantly, coast to coast. So come to First Interstate. We're not just keeping pace, we're setting the pace.
Coming up right after tonight's movie, Tommy Lasorda comments on World Series game number 2. We'll take you to a nearly nude wedding, and Johnny has Monday's forecast right after the movie.
Tommy Lasorda analyzes the series after the movie.
There are the totals at the end of 7.5. Kansas City on top by a score of 2-0, and it figured they needed good pitching and they needed some timely hitting with Ken Daly now on in relief, and they needed some hitting from their key people, Wilson and Brett and White, and those guys have done it tonight. A single by Wilson, a double by Brett, a double by White coming in the 4th inning, and a magnificent performance being turned in by Leibrandt. So Daly now in relief of Cox, with Wilson to lead off, and then Brett and White. Willie with 2 hits tonight. Shatters his bat and grounds it down to Hurd. 1 away. George Brett grounded out, doubled a drive and a run, and came in to score. And fly to left. So in the World Series now, Brett is 2 for 7.
The third baseman, George Brett.
In a lot of ways, this is a much better World Series, or a much more comfortable World Series for George Brett, because you all remember the last time Brett played in the World Series, what made headlines every day. Brett had a little ailment known as hemorrhoids, which made it very, very difficult. And what made it particularly difficult for Brett, it's the only thing anybody wanted to talk about for a week. 0-1 pitch is a strike on the outside corner, and the count is 0-2.
Well, you get an idea of why Ken Daly's so effective. Porter sits away, hits the glove. Very simple game. About 92 miles per hour. Great curveball to go with it. Makes you fight off fastballs like that, Tim. I mean, it sure does. Especially, again, it's probably the first time that Brett's maybe faced Daly. You know, all he knows about him is a scouting report. Guy's got an above-average fastball up in the 90s and an excellent curveball. A little bit late on the fastball, but yet you're still looking for the curveball. Doesn't make it easy.
1-2.
There was that Downer Daly, the #1 draft choice of the Atlanta Braves back in 1980 from Jerome, Idaho. Came to the Cardinals last year along with Mike Jorgensen for Ken Oberkfell. He has paid his dues, too.
2-2 the count. Hauser, half hidden, knowing he's on the verge of tying up the series. Brett fouls it away. In the bullpen now, the lefty is Bud Black, and the right-hander is Steve Farr. But again, as was the case with Gubazan before, and Beckwith getting in some throwing, because if they're going to go to the bullpen right now, it's Quisenberry. And he hasn't gotten up because Leibrandt has retired 13 straight, up high, 3-2.
You would think that would be the case, but it goes back to what we said last night. You don't usually take Quisenberry out of a game, but I think 8 times in the last 88 ball games he's pitched, but he has not been effective against left-handers. First 3 guys can turn around and hit left-handed next inning, so you kind of wonder maybe they might bring in somebody else other than Dan Quisenberry. At least it's a thought.
It's possible. The only reason I would think Quiz would be the guy would be that Hauser had to show Quisenberry he had the confidence in him in the playoffs after Dan got lit up twice by Oliver, and he had to bring him back. Tough choice, though, in a way, because you know that the guy may not have it, and maybe you should go the other way. But then again, do you not show the confidence in the guy that got you there?
Oh, we've certainly done that all year, because Quisenberry did start out not in typical Dan Quisenberry style. Still had 37 saves, but Dick did stay with him after a rough start.
All I know is that Hauser certainly hopes that all of this conversation becomes totally academic. And Leibrandt is on his way to doing just that.
Let's face it, it's too late now to change anyway. This is a World Series.
Oh, and 2 the count.
I don't think either.
Yeah, that sounds good until all the second guessers, all those. Well, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, and there's a lot of validity. That usually, I mean, you go with the guys that got you there, and Quisenberry certainly has done that.
Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
You save all your experimenting for spring training. You do not experiment in the World Series, in my opinion.
Except when you have Mickey Stanley at shortstop, huh?
Nice going.
To left field, and Landrum going back, and that one is off the fence. He juggles the ball, comes up with it, and White goes into second with another double. And Frank's had a perfect night.
Well, first you bunt, then you double, and then you do it again.
So Frank White, a single, 2 doubles, and a walk tonight. White, in 7 previous World Series games in his career, had a total of 2 hits in those 7 games, and tonight he has 3 in 1. Sheridan is staying in, I would assume, because Hauser feels that Sheridan is the better defensive outfielder. Otherwise, he'd have Motley batting here, but he'd rather have Pat playing right. And he's got the lead. So it's lefty against lefty, and he hits it down to Tommy Herr. And that's that for KC here in the 8th inning. So they leave a man at second, and we'll go to the 9th. 2-0 Royals.
Today, Chevrolet is merging a world of ideas for you.
It's coming now to the USA. We're gonna wait for you today. Come and be a part of it all.
Today, Chevrolet is like an international auto show. Imported and American-built small cars, wagons, hatchbacks, convertibles, 3-, 4-, or 6-cylinder power. Nobody nowhere has more kinds of small cars than your Chevy dealer's international auto show.
Drive today, Chevy. Live today, Chevy. Chevy.
This is Brush Plus from Gillette. A shaving concentrate and brush in one. A brush to lift whiskers, a concentrate to soften them. A shave that is superior. Brush Plus for a superior shave.
This is the Good News Disposable from Gillette, with twin blades for a remarkable shave. Now, even more remarkable, you can get one free. Look for specially marked 5-packs and get a 6th Good News free from Gillette.
This Bud's for everyone who puts the roads on the map.
This Bud's for you. For all you do. The king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, for you.
It was a young America on the brink of oblivion. John Jake's epic story of love and war, North and South, starting Sunday, November 3rd.
Tomorrow on ABC, America's newest hero, MacGyver, will be seen on a special night, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, and after Monday Night Football on the West Coast. MacGyver tomorrow on ABC. That is a fascinating graphic right there. You would think in all that period of time, somebody would have come from behind and won a game, trailing by 2 or more runs, but it hasn't happened since the Yankees beat the Reds in 1939. And that's the dilemma facing the Cardinals right now with McGee at the plate. Leibrandt has faced 3 over the minimum tonight. Swing and a miss. Quiz is up in the pen just in case. Popped up. Foul territory. Balboni coming back. And no, it is in the dugout. So 0-2 the count.
That ball was catchable, but Steve would have had to, first of all, put his foot on the top step and then step down into the dugout. He's got plenty of help from his teammates, as you see, but if he'd have caught that ball, it would have been a spectacular play.
0-2, McGee, Smith, and Herr, the top of the order. Leibrandt has walked 1, struck out 6. 1-2. Grounded, and that one takes a wicked hop off the sliding box and down into the corner. And McGee winds up with a double. It looked like it might have hit the seam as Brett dove for the ball. And so McGee, after nearly fouling out, doubles down the line.
George Brett rubbing that left shoulder of his. The ball did hit the seam, Al. But even had it not hit the seam, had Brett come up with that ball, doubtful that he would have thrown McGee out anyway. And that's all really the Cardinals want, is a base runner.
Now Ozzie Smith, who hit .302 right-handed this season, tries to bunt his way aboard and takes inside. He's bunting for a hit. 1-0. Dan Quisenberry throwing in the bullpen. One the count. After that hot LCS is now 0 for 6 in the World Series. 1-2.
If you're Charlie Leibrandt, of course you don't want to give up a run, but your concern is the tying run that's at the plate. The man on second is significant, but not that significant.
2-2.
Charlie Leibrandt wants an out. He'll take it any way he can get it.
I used to go out there with a 1 or a 2-run lead. Earl Weaver would say you can't get beat with a 1-run lead till a man gets on. Right.
Crowd chanting Charlie, Charlie with a count of 2-2 and nobody out. Grounded to Brett. McGee holds at second. 1 out. Tommy Herr, 0 for 3 tonight. had a hit in 4 trips last night. He is the only player who has hit safely in all the postseason games on these 2 clubs. So he's trying to keep that streak alive at a most opportune time. 1-0. Cardinal dugout. Some leaning against the top step in the more placid and serene Kansas City dugout. Good pitch. Handcuffed him. Shane Dienst in the background and Herzog in the foreground. Hauser talking with Blaylock, the pitching coach.
And Tommy Herr, a fat part of the field hitter. And George Brett is on the line at third, and Steve Balboni on the line at first. Trying to guard against the double.
1-2.
And it looks like you've got a pitcher trying to get Tommy Herr out with stuff away, which means he's not going to pull the ball. If you remember the last time he was up, Brett made that brilliant stop of his ground ball going to his left, and at that time he was playing in routine position. Not so now.
Lifts it in the air to right field. That's Sheridan making the catch. 2 down. So 2 away. And Jack Clark coming to the plate. Blaylock going to the mound. So you've got Clark as the tying run. If Blaylock goes to the mound, you're not going to see a switch. So they're going to talk over the situation. Leibrandt is a highly intelligent fella. Doesn't need to be reminded what happened about 4 days ago. And they discuss, obviously, how to pitch to Clark right here with 2 out.
Jim Palmer, also a highly intelligent fellow, so we'll defer to our colleague. What would you do in this situation? Power to power, or pitch around him, or walk him? No, walk the tie and run on base.
Well, I just know you never get beat till you give up one more run than you have. I mean, you want to make good pitches to Clark, but you also don't want to groove one. But if you walk them, the next guy hits one, you're trailing. So it's a tough situation. This is what the game's all about. I just think Leibrandt's going to pitch the way he has all night. He's going to go after him, try to stay out of his power, which really is a fastball out over the plate.
1-0. On deck is Landrum.
If you make a mistake away, it's going to be a base hit. If you make a mistake inside, this game could be tied. And your point's well taken, Jim. That's why Leibrandt's staying away.
I do think one thing is that he does not want to walk Clark, but he does know if he does, he probably will be not facing the next hitter. In most situations, managers do not want a pitcher to pitch this well and lose a game. You'll go to Quisenberry.
3-0.
You can bet he's swinging.
He took a cursory look at Hal Lanier, who went through some motions.
You can also bet that Charlie is thinking about that he may be swinging.
McGee at second with 2 down, and the 3-0 pitch upcoming to Clark. He swings and grounds it into left field for a base hit. So McGee scores. Clark becomes the tying run, and Landrum comes up as the go-ahead run. Brett had to to guard the line. Otherwise, he might have been able to make the play.
It's really kind of a point of conjecture. You don't really have to guard the line, but you choose to do that. And therefore, the ball does go in the left field. That's a ball that might be playable. And again, you have to play percentages, except in late inning situations. You don't want a ball down the line by you for a double. There you see Brett on the line. George is 3 or 4 steps to his left. Might catch that ball. Again, that's a managerial decision. Most of the time in Major League Baseball, they do guard the line in a tie ball game or ahead by 1 run.
And if you are one that does guard the line, Jack Clark hitting against Charlie Leibrandt would be the time that you'd want to do it.
They were ahead by 2, but they were guarding the line to avoid the double, which puts the tying run in scoring position. At least right now, they have the tying run at first. And Landrum fouls it away. And Dick Hauser telling you something here as well. The right-hand batting Landrum. He's got Quisenberry in the bullpen, and we've talked about Quiz, and even though on balance a successful year, having some problems here and there, and he opts to have Leibrandt, the lefty, face Landrum as the Quiz keeps warming.
Are you a little surprised that Whitey Herzog is not having a pinch runner for Jack Clark?
Well, he's average speed, fouls it back. The problem Clark has had in past years is he's been a relatively bad base runner, and that was the case last night when he got caught after the double.
And you got to tie it before you win it. Cardinals do have Tom Lawless available for pinch running duties. He is much quicker than Jack Clark.
0-2 to Landrum is outside. 1-2 the count. Between second and third and is held there. He is stopped at third as the throw comes in. So Landrum reaches out and hits a little blooping double down the line. Clark did not make the best turn at second base and has to stop at third.
Well, once again, they chose to go away, most likely trying to stay away from the long ball. Blooper to right, very similar to the base hit back in the 4th.
And if you were thinking if Tom Lawless were pinch running for Jack Clark, if he would have scored, I don't believe he would have.
I don't think so.
It's a tough call, but I don't believe he would have. But he may have been sent by Hal Lanier, so you never know what might have happened.
I think you're exactly right, Tim. He would have been far enough along so that Lanier probably would have sent him. Now Cedeno, and they're going to walk Cedeno. The go-ahead run is at second. They're going to walk Cedeno, and they're going to take their chances with Pendleton, who is a switch hitter. So as far as Pendleton is concerned, if he wants to stay with Leibrandt, Pendleton this season as a left-handed batter hit .244, and as a right-handed batter hit .229. So not much disparity. Probably more a case of, does he have more confidence in Leibrandt to get the job done, or Quisenberry? The thing here, too, is you can't make another trip to the mound since Blaylock's already been out there. So they can't go out and talk about this anymore.
Pendleton does have one of the Cardinal hits, one of the 5, and that was a bloop double to right field, or bloop single to right field. And the reason Cedeno was walked, he is not the important run. The important runs are on third and second. One to tie, one to go one up.
Also, it does set up the force at any base, which makes infield play a lot easier. It also sets up a base-loaded situation. Possibility of possibly walking in a run. A little more pressure on Leibrandt.
Leibrandt has now thrown 130 pitches tonight. Granted, 4 of them intentional to Cedeno, but he's getting up there. That's a strike, 1-1.
Pendleton looked like he was taken all the way. Why would you be taken in a situation like that? You don't want to spot a pitcher a pitch, but he did appear to be taking all the way. Interesting.
Two and 1 to count. This is a very big pitch right here.
Got that right.
And that's hit down the line in left field, and the Cardinals will take the lead as Clark scores, Landrum scores. They're waving Cedeno in. The throw to the plate is not in time. And the Cardinals lead it 4-2.
This has got to bring back memories of Game 4, the American League Championship Series, when Charlie Leibrandt had a 1-0 lead going into the top of the 9th inning, and the Blue Jays scored 3, and now the Cardinals have scored 4 in the top of the 9th, and remember that graphic at the top of the inning.
It has not happened since 1939, a team coming from 2 or more runs down in the 9th inning. And here comes Hauser, who's had Quisenberry up and throwing throughout the inning. But the Cardinals coming up with 4. Leibrandt came into the inning having set down 13 straight. The double by McGee. Then he got the next 2 men, but then the roof caved in. (4-2) St. Louis with 2 out in the top of the 9th.
If I thought that no one cared about the things I do in life, well, I'd still care about working hard and making it turn out right. Made in America, that means a lot to me. Oh, I believe in America and American quality. Here's to you, America, my best I give to you.
Anheuser-Busch is the same personal commitment to quality that has kept our family of beers the finest in the world for over 100 years.
Here's to you, America, my best I give to you.
Somebody still cares about quality. Anheuser-Busch.
Recently, a young father heard some unexpected news.
A college education may cost $140,000.
He called Merrill Lynch.
Does the plan you set up cover me?
I'll look into it. Fixed income portion covers college and get me investor support in New York.
Ron, I need research opinions on these stocks.
Well, the analyst is checking that company.
You've gotten sales and revenues up.
Good. This is what we needed.
Don't change a thing.
More resources, better solutions. Merrill Lynch people, a breed apart.
Tomorrow, a special night for MacGyver. He's in Central America where a revolution could shift the balance of power.
You're out of here.
MacGyver, tomorrow after ABC's NFL football.
Double switch for KC as Motley comes into play right field, and he'll hit 9th. Quisenberry comes in to pitch. He'll hit in Sheridan's spot, which is the number 5 spot. So the Cardinals on top by a score of 4-2, 2 out, 9th inning, and let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
This is Channel 7, KABC TV, Los Angeles.
So here is Porter now. coming up with a runner at second. Pendleton and 2 down. Van Slyke has come out on deck to bat for Daly if the inning is prolonged. And Jeff Lottie is in the Cardinal bullpen. And in fact, they will force Herzog's hand here to see if they will indeed send up the pinch hitter for Daly. When the Royals come up in the bottom of the ninth, they have Sundberg, Balboni, and Biancalana due up. You can count on Sundberg, you can count on Balboni, and then a pinch hitter. So here in the inning, the intentional walk, and of course, the whole story of this inning is Leibrandt coming in on a real roll, Quisenberry in the bullpen having that kind of a season, and Hauser opting to leave Leibrandt in to try to get that one final out, which has proved to be so elusive.
And also, as you and Jim pointed out, Al, George Brett on the line on the 3-0 pitch. I mean, this game could be over if George Brett's playing into the position. And that's not 20/20 hindsight, because that was pointed out before Clark got the base hit to left field.
Van Slyke hits it in the air to center field. And it's Wilson getting underneath it, and the inning is over. But what a nightmare for the Royals fans. As the Cardinals bat around, score 4. On 4 hits, and it's 4-2 going to the bottom of the ninth.
Hey, Nuxie, what keeps you going? I was 4 years old when you started.
It's been that long?
We were collecting your baseball card. You are a classic.
The trick, my friend, is to think young.
Coke. You mean you don't drink Coca-Cola Classic?
Us kids like Coke. It's light, smooth. It's the latest.
Kids? You still wear long johns.
Yeah, but they're the latest in long johns.
Coke and Coca-Cola Classic, America's real choice.
Okay, guess what this is? That's our topic.
Dream come true.
5-minute pizza, eh? For lunch.
Comes in your own personalized size, eh?
Okay, lunch hour. Toot! Lunch hour. Okay, how long does it take to get over to the place, right? How
10
long?
minutes.
10 minutes, okay. How long does it take? Okay, we're sitting down, we want to order pizza. Oh, no, are we going to get back to work in time? Yes, why?
We don't have jobs.
You're looking at definite major league material here, but not if we skimp on what he eats. So we give him Kraft singles. Imitation slices use hardly any milk, but Kraft has 5 ounces per slice. So his little bones get calcium they need to grow. No, he doesn't know what that big Kraft means. I'm glad I do.
Kraft singles, more milk makes them. More milk makes them good.
And now introducing Kraft Light Singles. Great Kraft taste with 25% less fat.
The man, Walter Payton. The matchup, the undefeated Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. The event, ABC's Monday Night Football tomorrow.
Jeff Lottie comes in to pitch, and he will be hitting in the number 6 spot because they leave Van Slyke in the game. Andy, who was the pinch hitter, batting in the 9-hole, and now playing right field. So the Cardinals on the field, as you look at George Brett, with Lottie and Porter, the infield is Parker, Smith, and Pendleton, the outfield Landrum, McGee, and Van Slyke. Sundberg leads things off. He has struck out twice and grounded out. Balboni on deck, and then they'll go to the bench. Sundberg 1 for 6 in the 2 games. Hit .245 during the regular season. 1-0. Worth saying again, we mentioned it at the very top, no team has ever lost the first 2 at home and come back to win the World Series. McGee is there, and the Royals are now 2 outs away from attempting to make history.
They certainly are. And they have a guy that saved 19 games out of 22 possibilities. One of the reasons that maybe Whitey Herzog let Bruce Sutter go down to Atlanta. The man that set him up all last year on his way to 45 saves. This year has done the job all year long. Good fastball, excellent slider. There you see it.
Balboni takes a strike and the count 0-1.
Talk about having empathy for Charlie Leibrandt. If you'll remember, last year in the American League Championship Series, he lost Game 3 to Detroit, 1-0.
That's right.
And you and Jim did that game.
Milt Wilcox outpitched him. Pitched a great game.
That's right. And as I recall, the only out in that game scored on a double play grounder. Little squibber up the third base line and a base hit. Of all ways to get on for Balboni. So the man who's paid to hit home runs has a key playoff hit, a blooper to center, and now a key hit here in the bottom of the ninth inning, a little squiver up the line. And George Orta to bat for Biancalana.
Now we'll see whether the Cardinals guard the line. The extra base hit, very important, obviously, right now. That would put Orta in scoring position with the Royals trailing by 2 runs. Jack Clark will no doubt play behind Balboni, but Terry Pendleton's not on the line at third.
Fouled at the plate, and the count is 0-1.
I know we're kind of belaboring the point, but when I used to pitch, and baseball's supposed to be all about percentages, you want to play where they're going to hit the ball.
The majority of the time.
Most of the time you don't play down the line, so I understand sometimes why you would do it to keep the tying or the winning run at second base in scoring or out of scoring position.
0-2 the count. On deck is Dane Orge. With the pitcher's spot due up, there is the former Cardinal. One and two. What fun it is for the managers in postseason, like Lasorda the other day and Hauser tonight, have to go into the press conference and the clubhouse and not only be asked, but be asked about 100 times, because as the next wave comes in, the questions are all the same.
And don't forget Bobby Cox also, the Toronto Blue Jays.
That's grounded down to her at second. He goes to Smith and back to first, and the Cardinals go home with a 2-0 lead. And a gut-wrenching loss for the Royals. So Charlie Leibrandt throwing a masterpiece through 8. And then all the air comes out of the balloon. The Royals and their fans totally stunned. And Whitey Herzog has watched his team now win 6 in a row. And they're halfway to the 1985 World Championship. Cards winning 4-2. We'll be back.
Pass the old El Paso, taste the old Southwest. Pass the old El Paso, taste our very best.
From the heart of the old Southwest come old El Paso taco shells full of rich corn goodness and our thick, chunky sauces made from tasty old Southwest recipes. So,
pass the old El Paso.
Floppy in, floppy out.
Anybody here?
Hello?
Why copy on a floppy?
Why not?
Because the new NCR PC6 offers a streaming tape that holds as much as 27 floppy disks. You can't lose work. You droppy your copy. And it's IBM compatible. Surprised?
No, NCR's very thoughtful.
Another not surprised.
An unfloppy copy. I'm so happy.
Hoppy. Hoppy. Hoppy.
A better computer. It's exactly what you'd expect from NCR.
Faces. They're all different, yet these all have something in common. They're the faces of Manville people. Manville people at work, 21,000 of them with one goal, to be America's very best supplier of quality products. Manville people aren't just dedicated to making better products. They're always striving to make those products even better. Yes, 21,000 people with one goal, to make Manville America's very best supplier.
Coming Sunday, November 3rd, John Jake's epic of the American experience is now an unforgettable television event. North and South.
What are we doing here, Dennis?
Can't hear you, I'm sorry.
4-2, the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Kansas City Royals, and Terry Pendleton drives in. 2 runs with a double in the 9th inning that proves to be the difference. Terry, tell me what you are thinking about when they are walking the preceding batter and you're about to come up in that particular situation.
Well, Al, you know, it's a big situation. It's something that really pumps you up, and you feel like they don't give you enough respect. So you want to try to do some damage, and you want to go up and look for a good pitch to hit.
What about the effect that not only a victory, but a victory of this sort has on your ball club, going home 2-0 right now?
Well, I think it's a big lift because we look kind of down, in the first 8 innings of the ball game. But I think you have to credit that to Charlie Leibrandt, who was pitching excellent tonight.
One final question. Were you surprised that Leibrandt was left in to face you, or did you expect him to bring in Quisenberry at that point?
Well, I really thought he would be gone after Willie hit the double. I felt like, they'd bring in some of their strong relievers and, give him an opportunity to maybe win a ball game because of the fact that, he's pitched 8 strong innings and he had to be getting tired by this time.
Terry, again, thank you for joining us and congratulations.
Thank you, Al.
We'll be talking with Dick Hauser. We'll hear from the Kansas City manager when we come back to KC in a moment.
When you're 100% pure beef.
The beef goes on.
When you're sear sizzled, lean and juicy.
McDonald's beef goes on.
Your great beef taste goes on and on.
You're all beef, your beef lean and hot. So your big beef taste just won't stop. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. The beef goes on.
Here, Doris. Got a meeting in Davenport. Be back tomorrow.
Once upon a time, a businessman figured out a brand new way to travel.
Afternoon. Car's broke down a couple miles back. Gonna miss a big meeting in Davenport.
That's so.
Say, could you, fly me there and back?
Let me get this straight. You want me to fly you there, sit there and wait for you while you have this meeting, then fly you back?
Since then, the Friendly Skies has flown a whole lot of business people. We found it pays to listen to them.
Thanks for flying me. Next time, maybe you could have some coffee on board. You're not just flying.
Let me get this straight. You want coffee on the plane while we're in the
flying
air?
the Friendly Skies.
Dick, I don't know whether you had a hunch or what, but I sure am glad I didn't have to make that decision.
Well,
Charlie
Reggie, it was made before the inning started. He was in complete command, and whatever changed. When they have a lot of switch hitters in, there's not a lot you can do. Guys that can run. We wanted Gary Blaylock and I both agreed before the inning started. His stuff was good enough. It was his game to win or lose.
The last year or a couple of years of Quisenberry has been dominating baseball, dominating the league. Would you have had him in there right away?
Not really, Reggie. It depends on what your starting pitcher's doing. He only given up 2 hits. They got a couple of 2 strike base hits, and they got a couple of 2 out base hits. So, no, under the normal circumstances, Quisenberry would have been in the game. But I think the way Charlie Leibrandt was pitching, incomplete change, I just felt like he could get it done.
Dick, I'd like to thank you for coming out. I know it's not easy. You're a class guy.
Thank you, Reggie.
A little tough right now in front of you, huh?
Well, yeah, but anytime you're only 1 out away, it's always tough, But we're just going to have to battle back and get this thing done in St. Louis.
Again, thanks for coming out, Dick. Let's go back to Al Michaels.
You said it right, Reggie. Not too many managers would agree to do an interview like that 1 minute after what just took place. 4-2, Cards win it. We'll be back in a moment.
don't just ask for a light beer.
Bartender, please, give me a light.
No, Bud Light. Bud Light, because everything else is just a light.
Now, how about if I tweet?
Make this Halloween a Bud Light Fright Night. Look for this display with free poster and special mug offer at participating retailers.
See, I'm an accountant.
Just about any personal computer does a better day's work with the help of an IBM Pro Printer. The Pro Printer produces high-speed drafts and clear graphics. It prints with near letter quality and turns out single sheets and envelopes without removing the computer paper. Best of all, the Pro Printer costs less than $550. For a better day's work, get the Pro Printer from IBM for the finishing touch.
Today, American tax laws are under review.
Can we continue to allow this kind of tax structure?
Investors call Merrill Lynch.
About taxes on my investments.
Our Washington people are finding out where the various factions stand.
What stake do you have in this? 4 million investors at Merrill Lynch. What happens here is important. I'm just watching things and keeping our clients informed.
The reports from Washington tell us that this could be the biggest change in history.
More resources, better solutions.
Hey, call me if there's something new.
Merrill Lynch people, a breed apart.
The U.S., the USSR, advancing toward an historic meeting, positioning their pieces. Reagan and Gorbachev in Geneva. Follow the moves to the summit with ABC News.
To Alan Roth and Steve Hurt, our thanks for the numbers as the Cardinals win it 4-2 to take a 2-0 lead in the series. And a reminder to be with us on Tuesday night, 8 Eastern time. The World Series moves to Busch Stadium. We'll be in St. Louis for Game 3. Joaquin Andujar and Brett Saberhagen, the probable starters. Also tomorrow night, 9 Eastern time, ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. The Green Bay Packers against the unbeaten Chicago Bears. ABC's exclusive presentation of the 1985 World Series has been brought to you by Chevrolet. It's 1986 at your Chevy dealers now. Live today, Chevy. By Michelob Light. Super premium taste and a less filling beer. Who says you can't have it all? By the people at Merrill Lynch, whose resources and solutions make them a breed apart. And by Honda All-Terrain Vehicles, makers of the ATC 3-wheeler and the 4Trax 4-wheeler. Coming up next over most of these ABC stations, ABC's World News Tonight, the Weekend Report, except on the West Coast, where it will be seen at its regularly scheduled time. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United, the only airline to serve all 50 states.
This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.